Here we go now. 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 Here we go now.
Well, the moment is here. I welcome you all to PMPL South Asia Qualifiers 2022. I'm going to be host Ankit, and joining alongside me is going to be Blotter. And Blotter, it has been long since we have shared this desk, but finally we are back with a bang.
Absolutely, dude. We definitely are, and I'm super duper excited for these teams to showcase that prowess in the next 3 days. Because again, I mean, it's a 3-day affair. It's a qualifier, like you said. So that means amongst the 16 teams playing, only those wonderful ones, those awesome ones that are going to be showcasing that sort of a wonderful play. The top 8, they will move on forth. So yeah, the battle is going to get started from today onwards.
Definitely. As you just mentioned, make things clear. 16 teams will be battling for the next 3 days in the 15 matches, and only top 8 will be aggressing to the PMPL. So a lot of things on the stake. And talking about that, we'll also have a lot of teams that you have seen in the past again presenting their power play gameplay in this today gameplay itself. But starting things off, we have a lot of things lined up for you. I am completely jam-packed for this action.
Absolutely, mate. Because again, I mean, you talk about those teams themselves, right? Those teams are going to have to work towards every single point. And talking about points, let's move on to the point structure itself, where we do know for a fact now that amongst the chicken dinner winning team, they will walk away with 15 points. Along with that elimination point, right, Ankit?
Oh, yes.
That is going to be super duper critical because that gives you that 1 point.
Oh man, yes, pretty much the same point system that we have been following for I guess more than 3 years or what. This needs to be changed pretty soon or later. But for the moment, the thing that is going to be for the change is we're going to head towards the schedule. And I guess we'll start the day off with Erangel, the OG map, and thrice Erangel will be played in the course of the day, and the voids will be filled by these off maps, Miramar and Sanhok. So 3 Erangel, followed by 1 and Miramar, Sanhok each. So it all comes down to how well you play your Erangel map.
That is so true. And again, I mean, as we are looking at this is just day number 1. So in total 3-day affair, that means 15 games, right? 15 matches will be played for the 16 teams, and that is the opportunity that they have. Now, first day, of course, as any other tournament, is dictated by just getting to know your opponent, right? All these teams today in the 5 matches are going to try and get their best gameplay, but along with that, they're going to try and, of course, get to know their opponents. And once that is done, tomorrow onwards, that grind, because only 10 matches will remain tomorrow onwards, that backward counting will start. That, all right, 10 matches remaining, we're on 9th place. And with that, we're talking about teams. Let's move on now and have a look at the teams themselves, the rosters that are playing in the 16 that we spoke about. Starting off, you do have 7C Esports, Venom Legends, Seal9, S9 Esports, as well as Paradox. Now, in the green room, Ankit, we were talking about Paradox, right? A team that joined us from Australia that has changed a little bit of their lineup. We do have G1 and Hazer, but Goldie and Ego are the new boys in the block.
Definitely. I remember one player from Paradox that was Queet, if you remember, had some really skull-cracking shots when he played the last PMCO. But I guess this change is going to be helping pretty much the course of Paradox. But let me remind you, Seal9 Esports, we all know the prowess that they showed in the Season 3 PMPL. I guess they will be up for the grab. DRS Gaming, yes, the name is the same, but a complete change in the squad roster. We have Rules, Delta, Killer, and Rebel. You might have seen this team, but with some different at the name, and they really showed their caliber when they played the last PMPL. We have more teams joining up for you from Bangladesh region, and that is going to be of Kings of BD. We have XBROTHERS, Gremlin Storms. You talk about teams, you have a lot of players to just have these gameplay going in for the day.
Absolutely, mate. Now, again, when talk about these teams that are on our screens, right? I mean, XBROTHERS, this is a team that we've seen earlier as well. So have we seen Gremlin and the likes as well. But today, as they start off a different tournament, a different journey altogether, we shall have to see what sort of a play style are they going to be adopting. Because XBROTHERS, we've seen earlier, have a very passive play till the final few moments of the game. On the other front, talk about a completely different aggressive stance that teams have taken are going to be from the side of JyanMaara as well as TRZ Esports. Now, both these teams we've seen play some phenomenally skilled prowess plays, but on the other front, this team, We Are Gurkha 2, is a great team. Because again, I mean, if you talk about the way that aggressive stance is made, this team is going to be phenomenal joining us from Nepal.
Definitely. Nepal's, we have seen some real talent, real promise coming in the last 1.5 years. But I really want to have my eyes set and locked upon some Sri Lankan team. We talk about Noob Alliance. Now we have seen the gameplay from different regions, from South Asian specific, the most dominating one, A being Nepal, B being the Mongolia, apart from the rest of the lobby. How Sri Lanka performs in this complete tour, in this complete event, because there are not a lot of matches if you miss markup, because the day sets on the very first day. The very first 5 matches will be completely setting things off, as we just mentioned. Just the 15 matches in the course of the next 3 days. Day 2 is going to be so crucial, but before that, the very first match. Let's see what sort of drop contestation, if there is or not, because at the end of the day, the 3 Erangel will be setting the course and the tempo that we just have to look at.
Absolutely, because again, that is another very crucial point to discuss upon, right? Because this is day number 1, as we did say earlier as well. These teams are trying to get to know their opponents. Along with that drop contestation that is going to be happening again and again probably, and that is what we'll anticipate again because we've casted different sorts of tournaments where we've seen very aggressive stands taken from the entire lobby, all 16 teams, as well as we've casted games where it's been a very low-key approach taken from the entire lobby. So today, as we have some wonderful names here who have been very, very aggressive, we shall have to see what sort of game style is this entire lobby going to be creating for us and as well as for our viewers as well.
Definitely, you talked about aggression. Just one thing reminds me of. The squad roster of DRS Gaming needs no introduction. If we talk about rules, we talk about Killer, Reaper, Rebel, everyone has just been at the top-notch performance. They played with Wizards with 5 last season, and I guess this change in the name can just help them a bit to transgress. But I'll have my eyes locked upon some other teams as well. If we talk about DRS Esports, they really had that splendid show when they played in the last national championship. We casted it together. Certain players were looking pretty phenomenal. So certain teams from Sri Lanka, from Nepal, Bangladesh, all under the same radar, all under the same vicinity, all under the same umbrella. It is going to be a jam-packed affair. Any game in the South Asia region, this is just so competitive.
It definitely is. Most certainly going to be very competitive because again, I mean, as we discussed, this is the qualifiers. So what is at stake? You want to be able to qualify your team as they move on forth, and only 8 slots are available for these 16 teams. So they are going to have to start bringing their A game right off the bat on the first game, first day itself, because the counting is going to get started off on the other front on day number 2, because only 10 matches remain, and if you are left on the second page of the leaderboard, right? I mean, I'm talking about 12 all the way down through the 16th.
Definitely.
Now that is where quite a lot of fights are going to be taking place, but alongside that, somehow I have a feeling that the points are going to be very, very close for these teams.
Exactly. I mean, the point that you were just talking about, from 8th position to 12th, that is going to be the key thing when we start day number 3, because for top 4, top 5, I guess they'll have a cementing position. They'll have a lot of points accumulated for themselves. But the team that will be really trying out, so certain teams that will be left behind, because at the end of the day, the math will come in, the equation will come in, the calculation will come in, and certain teams will be left behind for sure. But before that, I really want to talk about teams like JyanMaara. Has been in competitive scene for I guess more than a year or so. They haven't been performing that good, but I guess since the rest of the Nepali teams have been performing really outshining in the past couple of months and past couple of years, this is certainly the one thing that can lit up JyanMaara's potential.
Absolutely, mate. Because again, I mean, you talk about the Nepali forefronts, right? I mean, you've got so many teams, so many incredibly talented players that the entire region is just dominating across the board, all over the world is what I would say. The play style that they've created, right? I mean, you talk about DRS and their lineup that's going to be playing today. This team needs no introduction because the organization, the Real Soldiers, is already known in the competitive scene of PUBG Mobile. Along with that, when you talk about those players, they started off with that name that he spoke about, Wizards with Vibes. They came in with a bang, showcased to the entire lobby that we are here to dominate. No introduction needed, and now they are joining us with a different banner, but that again needs to be given no introduction because the Real Soldiers, that is going to be giving these players a boost, and that again coming in from that Nepal region, definitely going to be keeping our eyes out towards that team, and in fact not only that particular team but all the teams joining us from Nepal. But on the other front, you did mention Sri Lankan teams as well, so let's see. I mean, we've got 2 Sri Lankan teams right here, and what sort of a play are they going to be making? Because again, I mean, every single time we've had a conversation on Kit in the green room, you've been like, dude, I am rooting for some Sri Lankan team to be able to push on along.
Definitely, we haven't seen some sort of prowess from these teams itself, but it's the time where we head in the very first game of this qualifiers, and there we have it. The flight path completely dissecting military base into 2 equal halves, and we can just see the calmness before the storm as we head into the very first map from military base to Stolberg. The flight takes its route. That means areas like Georgiapol, hospitals, Arki, shooting range, certain teams will be having a very tough affair if they are looking to jump towards the same area.
Absolutely, and right here, as we can clearly see, right off the bat on the military base itself, it seems like 2 to 3 teams are going to be calling the military base their home, and it seems like Seal 9 has had a fanned out approach right here, as they are definitely going to be looking pretty comfortable and on the screen as well. As we move on along towards the northern side of the map, we do have these teams slowly but surely getting themselves acclimated towards their own known drop locations, but that drop contestation is what I'm waiting for, dude, because that is where the masala is going to be brought on along, because we do want to see some early fights as well. The first blood, who's going to be bringing in that first blood, who's going to be given that opportunity, if at all any team will be allowed to do so. On the other front, as we talk about TRC, again, I mean, needs no introduction, a team that has been very well fanned out in terms of their approach in every single game. And talk about that zone, dude.
Wow.
The zone is going to be pushing the teams to come on down to the military base, have some fun,
There we
have some gala time, because that is not going to last for long. And maybe, just maybe, the first map right here itself could bring us down to the zone, taking it all the way down towards those bridges. I mean, those are the kind of zones that I absolutely love to be a part of.
This is the South Asian Gala. This is going to be crazy affair. You just look at the circle, man. Completely downtown going towards the area of military base, and nobody can stretch this circle onto the main island. This has to be 100% military base, or maybe Novorupna. That's just the southern island finish that we are heading towards, and if team realizes this at the very first point, they can have some real good shy. We have Savage Esports in Yasnaya Polyana, one team that comes out of Mongolia. We have certain big teams. If we talk about Mongolia, certain teams reminds me of that area. You remember Zeus Esports, how they used to dominate the lobby. We don't actually know if Savage Esports are going to replicate the same.
Well, we shall have to see. We shall have to see. And talk about early contestations, it seems like we do have Paradox's Ego not having a good fun time right now, because it is going to be Gunner from the side of JyanMaara who's going to be pushing on to try and get that point confirmed for himself. And as far as his teammates are concerned, I don't see his teammates, but he definitely has a really good pull into this fight. And it is going to be a first blood situation where Ego definitely is not going to be well equipped for this fight. And eventually he will be brought down to his knees. And it is going to be Gunner who seems to be getting that first blood in the game right off the bat in the first 3 minutes itself. It is going to be JyanMaara's Gunner taking that first blood, taking that first point, but now G1 from Paradox is going to be trying to push on along, and it is going to be the health that is not going to be favoring Gunner, because Gunner is down to 40% health, but G1 has taken that revenge right off the bat, and it is going to be a GG approach being showcased from Paradox as well as JyanMaara right here.
No, definitely. The event trades brought down, and one finish, G1. One finish onto already his name. 2 casualty just out of the lobby, and we started things off with 64 players, but we really didn't expect that collision. We expected collision to happen, but didn't really expect that on the rocks of prison it will actually rot, but that is what it is at the end of the day. 1 player each, and this time Paradox is looking a different team altogether, isn't it?
That is true. That is definitely true. I mean, even though Ego did not have a fun time as they jumped on down towards the prison area, but JyanMaara's approach also was pretty decent, I would say, because he just went on towards that aggressive stance, and that is something that we discussed earlier as well, right? From the side of JyanMaara, the team is known to be an aggressive stance playing team, and that is exactly what they showcased. On the other front, as we move on down towards the military base, it is going to be Seal 9. Saki taking some amazing shots, bringing down the players, bringing in those points for his team, but till now the finish has not been confirmed, the elimination has not been confirmed, but Zaki's information, or rather his position, has certainly been given away, so he's probably going to be backing out of this fight. But let's see what his teammates are going to be doing, because he does have his teammates, if you look to the mini-map, onto his right hand side as well, so that flank angle can very well help out the side of S9 right here in this fight.
This is definitely a very good approach from C9 Esports. Just on the clock, if you just see 4 minutes and 23 seconds, the C9 Esports got a knock on to ElementriX players, and it seemed like at the moment they also had one fight in the areas of prison, but for the moment it's not only just Para, it's also JyanMaara coming up to the fight. So Nepali teams out of all a sudden, I mean, we have seen the sort of aggression that we have just talked about. They are coming up into the fight, but not rightly on the right side of the kill feed, and there we have it, Paradox getting 1 more on the name, and G1 adding the 2nd to his name. A very optimistic start, Paradox, that we were looking for, that we were also talking about, and I guess they will be at the end of 15 matches in the top 8.
Well, definitely could be the case, but again, we shall have to see if this sort of play being showcased from the side of Paradox is going to be retaliated from any other team or not. And right here we do have ElementriX, who a couple of minutes ago were in the crosshairs of S9, but now they seems to have gotten away from that position, and definitely still do have all 4 players alive. But for how long is going to be the conversation against the side of ElementriX? Right here we do have Liquid down to almost 30% HP. On the other side we do have Sus, who is going to be moving away from that position on the bridge and trying to get back to his teammates. And that is where, of course, we shall hope that ElementriX is able to recuperate and get all 4 players set up with 100% health. But right now, being in the water, being out in the open, is going to be a tough luck situation for the side of Sus. But let's see if any other teammates, or rather any other team on top of that bridge itself, could maybe bring him down. On the other side, as we did talk about his teammates, we do have Mr. Hyozu, who is certainly now getting his loot set up. It's only 6.5 minutes in, but definitely we can see quite a lot of aggressive gameplay being showcased from these teams.
Oh, definitely. It's just Nepali teams all around. Be it been on the kill feed, with the rotation, it has all been Nepali teams in the very first 6 minutes. And look at this, the way Kings of BD are just trying to move. We have Gremlin Storm's player pretty much in the same vicinity. I see Kapshi out there just trying to scout out the areas, and Seal 9 is not going to allow any team, because earlier it was ElementriX that tried to cross the bridge, and now it is gonna be, I guess, the Sri Lankan team NRC Esports, close to where military bridge is actually present. So all these teams are on the southern side. But if we talk about the Gangsters, they are pretty much very far away, pretty much 3 kilometers away to where the teams are actually fighting their senses out. But as we just mentioned, all these teams, we have DRS Gaming out of nowhere in the scenes.
Well, they are setting themselves on to the bridge camp position. Perfectly set up stands going to be showcased on the side of the Real Soldiers players right here. And Rules is definitely going to be just, going to be free-flowing across from on this bridge from one beam to the next. And that is definitely going to be helping his cause, because his teammates are also right around the corner, giving him that flank angle. And very close towards that bridge is going to be this gas station, as we can see from the top view. And in that is going to be Dante from the sides of Kings of BD with a UMP. Now, talk about this gun, dude. This has been a killer gun, the UMP, along with, of course, the Mini 14 that we can see on Dante for now.
Definitely, but what Rules has just done, the parkour action, that needs a lot of practice. But Rules, having that angle is actually helping them a lot of information, and the amount of vicinity, the amount of landscape he can actually gather is just so mammoth. He's on the top of this, whatever you call this, a frame, the frame of the bridge. He's on the top of it, and he can actually see kilometers away from it. Any team, any player who is trying to aggress toward this area, you be better prepared.
Right here, Kings of BD's Dante is definitely being given a lot of leeway right here, because Rules, he does know exactly where that player is, but he's not given away his position with the Mini, and that is something that definitely will help his cause. But we shall see for how long is he going to try and stay silent and quiet, because Kings of BD's Dante is on the move, he's on the run, and it seems like he will be allowed to get away with no problem at all. So he's going to back out of that position that he had in the gas station, and is going to go back to his teammates. There indeed, Dictator and Vexy and of course Mehfooz Bhai are just waiting across this compound, and here we go. So yeah, the players of DRS have definitely allowed the lad or Dante to move away from that position. On the other front now, Killer Whitey is going to be taking an approach into that gas station. So a very interesting fanned out approach that we can see from the side of the Real Soldiers, and they have a lot of information, but we will have to see if at all there'll be any other team that can stop them and bring them down to their knees, as they do have the bridge camp for now, but for how long is the question that needs to be raised.
Definitely. I guess Kings of BD just sense the threat, and as soon as they realize it, they completely just fallen themselves back away, and this is a very good approach for their side. But it's Kings of BD who knows, but as we just talked about it, it's Gangsters. One Gangster is already down. Nightwing takes him down. Oh no, not looking good. He will be finished as for sure, as now Venom Legends are just hunting the players down in the very first half of the game.
Oh, I'm happy. I'm very, very happy right now with this sort of performance coming in from the side of Venom Legends. This is the team that at one point in time I definitely kept on a high stance in my book, but over the games, over the tournaments, I've seen them lackluster a little bit, fall down a little bit, but it seems like this time around into the PMPL qualifiers, they are coming in with a bang, and they're definitely showcasing that prowess. On the other side, talk about DG and their approach. Well, Gangster was definitely brought down, and of course we do have blah 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 on the other side as well in the team. So it is a very good team, no question about it. The roster is definitely going to be working for them, but as of now in the first game they have been brought down to a 3-man squad. With that, the first airdrop has been dropped on along in the 11-10 minute marker with the MK14.
No, definitely. And we can see the urge with which the team are just trying to move downtown towards the side. But I guess I just spoke too soon. The circle with watch that has already made a shift. I guess half of the military base is out of the circle, isn't it, Bloda?
That is true, but dude, you know what? I did talk about this, right? I love the circles when you have the bridge in the center.
Imagine if the circle goes to the north, completely on the main island.
It is possible. A shift is definitely something that will take place. But if we talk about the center of the circle itself, right? Talk about the center of the zone, that has been taken over by 7C. Now that is a very good strategic approach that they've been able to accumulate for themselves, being at the coastlines, and of course those rocks over there are going to be providing them that cover fire. Along with that, we can see that they've got vehicles as well. So that will definitely be a big reason for 7C's positioning to be able to help out for themselves. And we did see Fear is setting himself up in a compound.
Nice.
So amazing positioning from their side. But of course, as you did talk about it, we shall have to see where the zone is going to be pushing on along, and where the zone pushes, that is where the fights are going to be taking place.
No, definitely. Gangsters, Gangsters with 1 gangster down. There's the 3 men alive. Let's just see what sort of gameplay they have offered to us. But one more promising team, XBROTHERS. And if we just have a quick look at the circle, at the dead smack center, it's Fear just scouting out the area from the front lines, and the rest of the players just checking if anyone is on the side. But I guess the circle has something else to offer. Now 7C is a big challenge for them, and not only 7C is a lot of team. If we talk about TRZ is completely away from this position, Gremlin Storm have a real good shy of this game. And also with that being said, look at the positioning, look at the split with which C9 are there at the position. But as soon as we just spoke, I guess 7Cs, they were ready with their boats. And no, it's not the boat, it's just the vehicle that they're jumping with which into the water. And as soon as they are into the water, they have to leave that off, because the vehicles will not float on the border.
Dude, I am loving this. I mean, I called for the PUBG gods to bring in a zone like this, and that is exactly what they have delivered in the first game itself, bringing it down towards that bridge camp sort of situation that DRS had going for themselves. It definitely is going to be working for them, but it seems like well, the kill is definitely not going to be confirmed. He did get the few damaging shots onto the player, but Rebel with the Scarrel is trying his level best, but of course that distance is a bit too far away, and the player is going to be able to walk out of that position. Now again, that means the DRS have given away that information, and of course the zone is also not going to be favoring them, so they're going to be moving away from that. Even though they had a perfect setup on that bridge, it is just not going to be working. On the other front, it is going to be XBROTHERS, as we can see in the kill feed, taking on a fight against the players of Air Gurkha right here. 2RGR, a team that I was talking about from Nepal, has been brought down to their knees as 2 men remain, and 2 have already been punished quite badly. So now the conversation is going to be for the side of this team. Will they be able to get the revive on their teammates? Because XBROTHERS is definitely on top of it, and this is where a third party can definitely be predicted as well.
Oh yes, no two is doubt about that. I don't really know how much profitable it is for 2RGR to indulge themselves in such sort of circle shift, but I really want observers to have again a quick look at the map as to how many teams have now rotated and made a move into the central lines of the circle. Out of the blues, out of the zone, there are just 2 teams just fighting and battling their metal out, having some ego being pushed out. It's 2RGR, XBROTHERS, both having detrimental amount of damage. But once if we get to just have a glimpse of the minimap, we'll have a clear picture of what and where the team stands for, because for the moment a lot of teams are actually making a traversing situation for themselves. And it seems like Gremlin Storm, the team that I really had a very quick and a keen eye set up onto them, for the moment they are just being banged for different directions. It's Evilai just beating off, Badriv has gone down, it's just up to Kapshi and Rafat.
Absolutely, and again now I do want to take the viewers' attention towards 7C's positioning, right? We did see them on towards the northern side of the map right now, of the zone, but now but now they've re-collaborated themselves, and they are going to find themselves onto the military base once again in the center of the zone. So that is definitely going to be working for them. On the other front, as we talk about that exact same position that we see 7C at, now it is going to be NRC's players who are going to be taking down TRZ one by one. But But both these teams now have to get into the water and go all the way out towards the military zone itself. And that is where things are going to get trickier, because there are so many teams, as we see on the mini map as well, who are stuck onto the northern island, and they are going to have to get into the water. There is no way at all that the teams on the military base are going to allow that to happen easily, that is.
And definitely, and before that happens, there are already 3 teams pretty much close to where the shorelines are. It's TRZ, we have NRC, and also one team in the backlines. So it is going to be 3-sided affair, and in between TRZ having completely sandwiched from one side from NRC and from different directions. Not looking good for them as for the moment. It's also Venom Legend. He also needs to make a move, but Rare FPS, he didn't have any other option than to just let his vehicle with himself fly into the water, and then they just wait. But as soon as they try to make a move into the circle, it's already 7 Cs on the other side of this way that will be waiting for them just to welcome them. But before that happens, NRC is just trying to rack up a lot of kills, because I guess Doom, he doesn't even have any first aid, and I guess he has already given up in this fight.
Absolutely, and the third team that you were talking about right on the coastlines right here is going to be the side of Venom Legends, and this is something that I wanted to touch upon for the side of NRC as well as TRZ. It is going to be a conversation about which team tries to hold on to the coastline more, because as soon as you're in the water, you're a dead fish. You're a dead fish, and this is where Venom Legends can definitely take on a lot of kills for themselves, but they are also going to have to be very cautious and careful, because as we can see in the kill in the mini-map that they were taking on shots, but they are also going to have to get into the zone. So question is, will Venom Legends try and get the kill and the elimination point, or are they going to try and jump into the water, being one of the dead fish, to try and get into the zone? Because again, I mean, yes, from the northern side, you are going to move on along towards the military base, but on the military base itself, we have teams that are eagerly, patiently waiting for those dead fish to come onto the coastlines, onto the beach, and that is where DRS is waiting as well. We're going to be trying to eliminate them one by one.
Rebel, along with Killer, is just hunting the players out of the water. DRS in complete position. Look at the way they are actually holding themselves up. They really have a very good ridge. Kings of BD and DRS Gaming pretty much close to where they're positioned, and then we have 7 Cs in the back vicinity holding all these compounds. I guess DRS Gaming didn't have any option other than this, otherwise they could have opted for the compounds. But for the moment, it's DRS anyhow, just finding themselves in the position. But rule going down, smokes are being deployed. Now DRS Gaming can have multiple players logged upon them, because they have already created a lot of sounds. And as soon as the rest of the team come closer towards them, they just have to be pretty much cautious about it.
Absolutely. I was just about to point out that we're 18.5 minutes in and 16 teams still remain. But as soon as I was about to say that, Paradox is going to be brought down to their knees. The first team to get eliminated on that 16th spot. But good enough for Paradox, because they did get, thanks to G1's play, they did get those elimination points for themselves. And now it is Kings of BD's play, who are just patiently waiting for these dead fish to come out onto the beach. And this is where Mahfouz Whitey is going to try and eliminate the players of SA right here, where indeed Savage are going to try to get behind that rock. It seems like that is going to be the option that they possibly have right now, and that is going to work out for them. So a GG play being showcased from the side of SA, and that is going to definitely allow them to get onto the beach itself. And behind them, I do believe TRZ and Venom Legends are still in the water. Let's see where exactly are those two teams going to be waiting out to.
The rules finally connect some shots on Gremlin Storm. So Gremlin Storm, they were already onto this island. If you remember, they dropped onto the area of Novorupnoy, and the place at where now the fight is actually panning out, that was just, I guess, 700 to 800 meters far away. And now it has been already dominated by a team that jumped onto the northern side of the map. But in between, we can get to see a Savage Esports player has anyhow managed to make a move onto the island. I guess it was just the mercy by which they just survived. Else Mahfouz, along with the rest of the players coming in from the sides of Kings of BD, they wouldn't have let them survive for any moment. But it is what it is at the point of the moment. We have also Seal9 joining him to the fight. We just have 2 teams that have been kicked out of the lobby. That has been Paradox and Kings of BD. Rest, a lot of teams relies on their at least 2 to 3 players.
Dude, ElementriX is definitely playing their A game right now. They've been able to bring down C9 easily, one by one. S9 players going down and no retaliation being showcased from their side because ElementriX is definitely on top of it. Along with that, we did just see that DRS from far away were also taking out a few shots towards the players of S9. So definitely, even though S9 had a really good position and the drop that they had on the military base was working in their favor, it seems like they will not be allowed to take on points for themselves. On the other front, as we did just see right here on this exact same playing ground, there were Kings of BD's players. Mehfooz YT was trying to hold the fort against the players of SA, but not going to be allowed for long because Kings of BD were eliminated. SA had their revenge. All the players were able to get onto the coastlines, onto the beach now, and now Savage Esports, this is where the moment and the glory for them is going to be showcased because they are all 4 players alive, 6 eliminations for themselves, and look at the dead fish waiting. The points waiting for the side of Savage.
2 Mongolian teams going up against 6 defeats already onto the name of Savage Esports. How many more they can rack up? That's the question. That's the question of the hour. They have multiple fishes. They just need one big net and just carve out all these players out of the body. But I was really interested to see what sort of fight Savage Esports has to offer to DRS Gaming because just in their neighborby vicinity we can get to see we have DRS Gaming. But before that happens, it's not only Savage Esports, it's also ElementriX that is getting a lot of bonus points. It is also getting a lot of elimination points out of all these players and they are just pretty much helpless.
This is going to be quite a chaotic finish to the first game right here at PMPL Qualifiers because again, you talk about the amount of players, the amount of teams. We've got 12 teams, 34 players alive and so many of them are just in the water and that's not anything working for them, yes, but on the other front, as you talk about the teams that are on the coastlines as well, these teams are also going to have to be really careful because there are 3 to 4 teams right next to ElementriX right here who are also going to be taking on the shots towards the players of ElementriX. But look at Inkus right here, he is not deterred, he wants those points for himself. With a Scarl, he's definitely trying to push on his luck. 7 eliminations for the side of ElementriX. I mean, GG play being showcased from the side of this team. And now if we look onto the kill feed, there are just players that is from the side of DRS that are going to push on along against the players of ElementriX.
This is the fight that I was talking about. Savage Esports going up against DRS. 1 great blows of 2 players, Rebel and Delta going down. Within the blink of an eye, seems like DRS has been completely torn apart. There we have it. The fight that we all preempted for a so long time has been just wiped in few seconds.
That was a savage grenade. That was a savage grenade.
Living
Amazing.
up to their name, Savage Esports. Remember this name.
Wow, now we only have 2 teams. Right, we've got only 2 teams on the beach. No, in fact, correction, 3 teams. We've got 7C as well in the middle. We've got Savage on towards the right-hand side flank. And of course, we do, of course, have ElementriX as well. But now the question is going to be, will 7C try and retaliate? Because again, when we talk about 7C, they had a really good position in the zone, in the circle. But as the game progressed along, we look on towards those points. The points are not working for their side because Savage is just racking up those elimination points for themselves. 12 elimination for the side of this team, and the game is still not done. And you talk about dead fish in the sea, dude.
No.
We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
You keep counting.
6 teams. We've got 6 teams in the water right now. This is just. Oh wow.
This is the very first game. This is the very first game of the South Asia Qualifiers, and with that being said, it's 2RGR bidding goodbye to this lobby, just down with 8 teams, 22 players alive. And I guess Savage Esports look unstoppable at this moment. And the new update also brings you, there is no instant conversion of dead body into the crate. You get revival underwater, but even if they do so, players are pretty much competitive that they will be able to find all these players who are trying to hide themselves into this water. Savage Esports not only have their eyes set upon all these players who are underwater, but now they are having a keen eyes onto ElementriX. So one wrong peek and Hershey goes down.
Well, definitely what a play being showcased from the side of Hershey, because indeed he did have 8 elimination points for himself, but as soon as he moved away behind that crate to try and take on the fight towards the players of ElementriX, it was ISSL who were just absolutely able to pincer him down and take on that miraculous point for himself. But again, we still do have 3 players remaining from the side of Savage Esports. 17 eliminations for the side of this team. 17 players alive in total. 7C have completely been pinched down. Hustler playing a really good fanned out approach right here in this fight, where he does have the cover of that tree. Along with that, of course, he has the position of 7C as well. But as soon as that smoke is dissipating, his position might be given away. On the other front, you talk about 7C. They have that car, that McLaren, that's going to be definitely providing them that cover fire, but for how long? Because TRZ is also in the vicinity.
I would still say Savage Esports has a better position than what 7Cs are having.
Oh, definitely.
Because the way they have actually the fanned out approach, all the 3 players in 3 different split, but as soon as that I said, Precious secures one more knock onto the players, and look at this, TRZ has been given an opportunity to find himself onto the land, and this is not looking good for 7C's Esports, because one random sprays and already Fear is down on his 20 HP, but it seems that DRS Esports is pretty much interested into the players that are trying to be the fish, and Noob Alliance are just falling down.
Well, what a play being showcased in the first game itself, and Hustler on the side from Savage definitely taking on the fight to the players of 7C itself, and this is where Hustler will definitely try and dominate, and his teammate will get... Exactly, his teammate will just confirm that elimination for the side of 7C, and now we're down to 3 teams remaining. We've got we've got Savage, we've got, of course, NRC who are in the water, and we've got TRZ's players as well. And again, as you just mentioned, Savage have showcased an incredible play right here with these 3 players. 23 elimination points to this team, and Hershey is just rocking that shot with a bang in the first game.
Mamba tried to deny that kill by jumping himself into the water and just find himself into the water, but that was not the case. Savage Esports, total 41 points, 26 elimination. I haven't seen any match in the entire history of my casting or whatever I have played, any team getting 41 total points. Oh man, these Mongolian teams, they just keep getting better and better. We had a lot of team coming in, and this time it is Savage Esports.
Dude, this was not... Wow, this could not have been predicted. I mean, just the appropriate name that this team needed, right? I mean, they are savage in that battleground. 26 eliminations, 41 points in just the first game itself. Talk about creating a lead. Now I want to see what team is going to be on that second position, right? And how big a difference is there going to be? With 41 points coming in from just one game, they are definitely on top of that overall leaderboard. But how far apart is that first position of theirs with 41 points going to be from that second position team? Which, again, we shall see which team is that going to be. But yeesh, what a play. What a play this was. Amazing.
I told you about my experience. How long has it been for you to see? I mean, the last what I saw, the maximum was 22 or 23 finish. This is beyond that. This is beyond expectation.
Yes, definitely. And this is going to set up a pace. This is going to definitely set up a pace for the entire 3-day affair, right? Savage starting off really phenomenally right now. But now we shall have to see as the games progress on along. Because firstly, again, as we did say earlier as well in the pre-game segment, the teams are going to try and find out what their opponents are doing. What sort of a rotation are they making, right?
Yeah.
So now with this sort of a playstyle that Savage have showcased, yes, they've got the skill, yes, they've got the prowess, yes, they've got the synergy, but what are the opponents going to be doing? That is what is going to make the masala that much more crispier in this entire 3-day affair saga.
I expected only one proper fight in this match, and that was between DRS Gaming and Savage Esports, and that fight was completely wrapped up in, I guess, 1 grenade and 3 more seconds, and plus 3 seconds into that. Savage Esports was a team that jumped into the area of Yasnaya Polyana, if I'm not wrong, and from that place to where the fight actually happened, this was just the game that we were waiting for. Savage Esports in the very first game. Apart from Savage Esports, ElementriX, till the time every 4 players were buried alive, they had 11 elimination. But for the moment, it's time for the most valuable player for this match, and it's going to be none other than one player from Savage Esports, and that is going to be Hershey with 13 elimination, 1156 damage, and healing done. Just 167. He was like, it's just me who is surviving, nobody else. It's me, supreme power. Just bow in front of me.
Wow, what an amazing play being showcased from Savage Esports right here. I mean, Harshay, the way this dude was playing, it was just ferocious to be in front of him. Nobody would have allowed this sort of, or I anticipated this sort of a play style coming in from the side of Savage in the first game altogether itself. With that, let's move on and have a look at the top players, along with, of course, Harshay from Savage. We do have Ligro, we do have Miracle, who are all joining in from Savage Esports, and look at that. This is just ludicrous stats being showcased from the side of this team. Ligro coming in with 7 eliminations, 1008 damage, along with his teammate Miracle with 5 eliminations, 1200 plus damage, and then comes ElementriX with 5 eliminations.
Look at the individual damage that they have produced. This is complete robbery. This is complete
definitely.
Robbery.
In total, the team of Savage Esports ended up having 3,800 plus. Yes, exactly. Just one game. What is this day going to turn out to be by the end? I cannot predict whatsoever at all.
The next God of Thunder. We have seen a lot of Mongolian teams. We have heard about, we have seen, not heard only, Zeus Esports. We have a lot of team coming in. Recent times, we have seen a lot of team coming up. Savage Esports, I guess they are going to be the problem one. But for the moment, let's just head towards match summary. And we'll have a clear picture of it. And how many eliminations. So it was 58 for the total, 71 total knock, 6,260 healing done, 6 grenade elimination. I guess 2 came from Savage Esports when they tried wiping out DRS Gaming.
Absolutely. I mean, we did see that perfectly set up nade from their side, and as you move on through, longest elimination distance coming in at 299 meters. Along with that, we do have to look at that match ranking, because we know with 41 points, Savage Esports is going to be on top. 16 points. DRZ at second. 16 points. Again, I am at loss of words, Ankit. Talk about creating a lead, dude. Is this... I mean,
they
again,
will consider all these players.
Right,
I don't think so. I don't think so.
This is GGB.
Anyone who is close to what they were able to secure ElementriX, it's 10. 10 elimination. They are 2.6 times more what ElementriX was able to secure. And Savage Esports managed to handle and get the chicken. This is no joke. This is Savage Esports for you. 41 total points in this very first game. Everyone just looks so dwarf into them. But moving on along, we have Paradox, just 2 total points, 2 RGR. The Gangsters fell apart pretty quick. Kings of BD, just 1 total points. Gremlin Storms. A lot of question marks are to be raised amongst them, because no Ripno is where they jumped. And on the shorelines, on the northern side of the military base is where the circle constricted. At least 15 points, not more, at least 15 points is what I just literally begged from them. Where they stood, just 1.
Yeah, sadly this is just first game. I mean, on the other front, talking about that sadness sort of personified, Seal9, S9, the way they dropped onto that military base, it was looking really good for them. I mean, we do know the players are really well versed, but then as the circle started constricting, as the zone kept on shifting away from them, they moved on and then were caught off guard. And again, that was just not the kind of approach that we anticipated. But boy, oh boy, was this a good fun match. With that, first game done, 4 more games remain. But before we jump into match number 2, we're going to go on a short little break. Stick around, we'll be right back.
Welcome back everyone to PMPL South Asia Qualifiers, and dude, what a game we just had. But for the moment, it's gonna be the time to head towards the schedule, and I guess the next map is we'll just have in a little bit. But before moving on to that, let's just talk about the last game. Even when we were on the break, we were not just done talking about the game. We kept talking about how Hershey played and the rest of the players in front of them. They just looked too small.
True, so true indeed. I mean, this was not anticipated at all, but that is what Savage has showcased to the entire lobby. Now as we move on through to Miramar, this is where, again, the option is definitely going to be there for teams, but we shall see what the flight path is going to be. So let's move on along into the game itself and have a look at where the flight path is going to be leading these teams down towards on the map of Miramar for match number 2.
Cautious warning. Nobody needs and dare, I would rather say, try to jump near where Savage Esports jump. But they would actually know when Savage Esports get a knock, right? Torre Ahumada is where the flight path starts from, downtown towards the area of Los Leones. That means El Pozo, Credifield's gonna be the tough task for them. A daunting one, to be more precise. We have everyone completely jam-packed in the lobby. But what a game. Want to talk more about how the 26 finishes game happened for Savage Esports. We have seen a lot of teams that tried to make a rotation, and this is not the first time that we are witnessing any team trying to dominate this sort of circle. But this was not the team that was supposed to be at the position. They paved their way, and they just not only came in, they made sure that they got all these finish. And for the moment, it's Savage Esports going towards the northern side of water treatment. I guess they might go towards the area of La Cobreria. El Hazard is where 7Cs are jumping towards. A long glide for a lot of teams. Chumacera, Minas, Ladrilla, Montenevo. All these areas are those comfortable position for a lot of teams. But I expect we might just get to see somewhere down the line on Hacian del Patron or Los Leones that we can expect. But Circle has just been the rough touch for today. The first game we just saw, there is certain love of Circle with water this season, I'm telling you, Blodder.
True, very true, very true, and it definitely does count, because that is what makes the game that much more exciting and exhilarating to watch and cast as well. On the other front, as you talk about the zone, right, I would love to see it. It rarely happens, seldom ever have I seen a zone go all the way down towards the prison island, but I would love to see if that sort of a hard shift could be showcased from this zone. But again, like I said, it's like a 0.5% probability of that happening. On the other front, as you were discussing about Savage, yep, they've taken those vehicles and gone all the way north towards La Cabrera, so they are going to have to make a pretty long rotation for their side. And from the north, as you move on down to the extreme southern side, we do have Venom Legends players towards Impala, and along with that, Noob Alliance. Here they are moving on along with a pretty decent approach and a pretty good loot, I would say, for the first 2 minutes itself. And of course, as the game progresses on along, they're going to be wanting to get the better half of these fights in this match number 2. But again, now, this is something that has been part of the conversation for so many casters of PUBG Mobile, right? When you're on the map of Miramar, when you've got a vehicle, you want to be able to get at least 2 to 3 vehicles rather than having all 4 players just bulged up in one. But again, this is just the first 2 to 3 minutes, so nothing given away from the side of Noob Alliance, but hopefully they are able to get a better vehicle for themselves. On the other front, as you move on down towards the Real Soldiers players, Killer YT, moving on along with well, again, I mean, he's got a level 3 backpack, so that's good, but no gun, nothing too good for him. But of course, as he progresses on along, he will definitely find it. In the water treatment region, he finds himself. His teammates, I did not see in the minimap, but again, he is 1,500 meters, and that is going to be a casual approach for so many of the teams, because the zone is so extreme southwest. So for so many teams, the zone is definitely going to be a bit of a cause for concern, so to say, if they don't start making that rotation a bit early. On the other front, as the day started off, I was talking about the Gurkhas right here to RGR. This team, I had high anticipations. I still do have high anticipations from this team, but let's see if Miramar is going to be the map for them or not.
Definitely. Last time, I guess this was one of those teams that really have the problem to make a move onto the southern island because they were just stuck. And once, so you have only two ways. If you're not taking waterways, you have only two landways. You have the Novo Repnoy Bridge or the military base bridge. That was the game and the storyline of Erangel, where they actually drastically failed. But I guess once they make a move into this game of Miramar, they have a real good time for the moment. It's Ryu. Everyone just spread out, and as you perfectly mentioned, as you perfectly advised, everyone needs to be separated. I guess it was just the swag of that golden Mirado that made the players be sitting in the same vehicle. Apart from that, I don't see any other reason, Bloda.
Dude, look at the distance. 4,100 meters away from the zone, XBROTHERS find themselves right here.
Are
Again,
they
the
even in
loot.
the map? Oh, Campo Militar, yes, there is a city.
They're on the northeastern side, yep, exactly.
Yes.
And they're all by themselves, so the loot is definitely going to be working for them. No other team around them to contest for any of that loot. But again, they better find a vehicle and start making that rotation. It's, yes, only 5 minutes into the game, but being that further out, I mean, it's like two edges, right? I mean, on one southwestern edge is the zone, and they are on the northeastern edge. So they're going to have to cross the entire map, XBROTHERS, to get into the comfort of the zone. And as they do so, if they're not quick enough, why am I saying again and again in the first 5 minutes itself that these teams should start thinking about rotation? Because if they start delaying that, yes, the zone will catch up to you, the blue zone will catch up to you, you will be given a little bit of damage, not a lot, so that's okay. But as you start making that late rotation, the other teams then can become that much more of a trouble for you as you try and get into the zone. The teams that are already in the comfort of that zone will try and take that fight to your face, and that is where you wanted to start your game with a decent good loot, but your game would have ended drastically. And yeah, that's the reason, that's the main reason. But nevertheless, I mean, moving on away from that rotation-based conversation, we do have the Gangsters right here, who are going to be looking pretty neat as well. So again, in the map of Miramar, we do know that a lot of shots, a lot of mini action can very well be seen. But along with that, we shall see what sort of bolt action will we see, or rather from what team and what player can we see that. Because S9, you talk about S9 and the way they have their wonderful prowess on towards the gun of bolt action guns, right? I mean, they are pretty good in terms of those head cracking shots. But let's see which team will be giving us those phenomenal plays today.
If I'm not wrong, Mongolian players and Mongol teams in particular are pretty much good with their bolt actions. Be it
True.
Not only just about these bolt actions. You have all these DMRs also coming up into the favor. We talk about the mini and all these times SKS, SLR. They are pretty good to them, and this is something that happens in the game, in the map of Miramar and Erangel. When we go onto the map of Sanhok, there are also some exclusive weapon onto them, and they really have a good shot onto those weapons. But for the moment, I really want the observers to have a keen eye and want you to show us the minimap, that where the teams are actually positioned. I really want to see how Savage Esports are going to make a move into the circle, because they went towards that Laco Brady area where they really had to make a tricky situation, tricky rotation, because the western side is completely full of a lot of terrains, and that offers a lot of resistance to them. And for the moment, we might get to see some sort of contestation that can happen, but we'll be in a better position to actually predict where the teams are actually positioned once we get to see the minimap.
Well, we definitely will in a few minutes' time. On the other front, as we talk about Seal 9, a first game not working in their favor, but right here they find themselves in towards the Chumasera region, and they have the crosshairs set up towards the players of 2R, and that is going to be the team of Gurkhas, as we did discuss earlier as well. And this is where it is going to be Yeta, who is going to be in a little bit of a tricky position, because yes, he's got the mini working in his favor, but he also has given away his information, and Seal 9 have already taken a few shots on the other side onto the blue zone. We do have XBROTHERS and 7C catching each other out into that rotation that we had spoken about earlier.
1700 meters. Is it even this fight helping them out? Is it profitable? XBROTHERS, 7Cs going up against each other in the map of Miramar. 700 meter eventually becomes 3000 meter if you are not just well traversed with the terrains, because the terrains that actually offers you a lot of resistance. And there we have it. Elite, once he tries to make a move out of his buggy, he gets a lot of shots from the back end side. 1900 meter for XBROTHERS and 17 to 1800 meter for 7Cs. Not in a good situation, to be honest, brother.
Definitely, and that is something that, of course, we can see XBROTHERS have been able to capitalize upon, and they are going to be moving away from that position. So that's going to be GT approach being showcased from the side of this team. But is that going to be allowed by 7C's players? Because again, you talk about XBROTHERS, they are fanned out, whereas 7C's players, they are very, very close. On the other side, first blood coming in from the side of XBROTHERS, where 7C's player has been confirmed killed, and that is going to be, I think, Theo, who was brought down to his knees. Yep, Theo from the side of 7C has been eliminated, and 7C now going to try. They're definitely going to try and get that kill confirmed for themselves and get that revenge going for themselves. But sadly, 7C will not be allowed that. And as so perfectly mentioned by you, mate, the fight started, they were like, what, 1400 meters away, and now they're 3000, almost 3000 meters away from the zone.
Circle has shifted.
Exactly, right? So a tough luck situation for the side of 7C, whereas XBROTHERS definitely walking away with that one elimination, going to be working in their favor, and they still have all 4 players alive.
So if you say no to a circle will definitely say a big no to on your face, and that's the reason that 1700 meter has certainly increased at just 1000 meter more, 2800 meter, not going to be an easy task. But that was the team that were out in the blues. We have certain teams that have made quick rotations. Paradox, a new Paradox, a completely transformed one. We just got to see in the very first half of the game. Unfortunately, that was just not the game that they were looking for. Some random shifts here and there, and a lot of teams, not only Paradox, a lot of teams that really find themselves in a debris, 6 feet down under. But as soon as I said that, it seems like TRZ are just adding some masala to all these fights. JyanMaara are set upon onto their coaster, and Snipe Whitey goes down. We have Madcat, Rare FPS, and Mamba, STFU2. Mamba, I remember this lad, this particular lad really impressed us a lot when he played the last time, the national championship that I and you both casted, if you remember. Mamba was the one find out. And for one moment, he moved to Venom Legends for the last PMPL, but then again back to his own hut, to his own home place, to his own team where he belonged to. And I guess this is from where TRZ are going to have a long leap.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if that will be the case or not. Because again, right, they're going against JyanMaara. So again, talk about JyanMaara as well. This team is also a pretty ferocious team to go up against. But right now in this fight, I have to give it to you. I mean, TRZ are looking in a better approach because they have that terrain advantage, right? The height advantage working in their favor. And on the other side, for JyanMaara, it is just a downward slope fight for their side. So they are definitely going to have to get away from that. And Gunner seems to be giving away a lot of information, and it's going to be Rare FPS who will try and get that fight to the face of Gunner, where Gunner's approach is to try and get his teammate revived. But will Rare FPS give that possibility, will allow that or not? Because we can see Mamba cooking a nade is going to try and take the fight to the face of JyanMaara. And again, this is not looking good for JyanMaara's players, because they are downward slope fight is what this has turned out to be against them. But again, I mean, an aggressive stance is what we can definitely anticipate from the side of JyanMaara as well.
One thing Gunner is doing correctly is he's just trying to smoke out the areas. But TRZ Esports, they are pretty much on a pedestal where they're just fighting themselves in the position. But as soon as we said that, that revival is always a risky one. Snipe White going down, Gunner going down on a slope. That's not the way you go for the revival. That's basic. That's just basic. But they are just lacking out of it. Eventually, in the course of saving one player, loses two, and JyanMaara, I guess they are just down to 2 players surviving. And the backdrop, we can get to see Soulless, and Suzanne has came in joining the fray, but I guess it's pretty late.
Well, this is not looking good for the side of JyanMaara as far as this Miramar map is concerned. On the other side, as we talk about the zone itself, it seems like DRS are finding themselves on towards those mountainous regions all by themselves towards the northwestern side of the zone. So that's going to be working GG in terms of their favor. On the other side, XBROTHERS and 7C, we can see making a rush to get into the zone from the eastern front, and it is going to be quite a lot of teams who find themselves down towards the southern part of the zone as well, where we do have the team of Gurkhas, that is going to be 2RGR, very, very close to Seal 9 as well. And as they make that rush and push to get into the center of the zone, we do have TRZ's players as well in the blue. So quite a lot of fights taking place, and of course we can clearly see that Savage is also now getting into the fight. We can see onto the Paraboy, right? That is exactly where it is. I think that is what it is. What the player is. Paradox's players are very close to Savage Esports as well. And so that is a fight that Paradox will have to be very, very cautious of if they get into.
No, definitely.
Ouch.
Paradox.
Just
Two
go on.
players, one single
Oh,
spray.
man.
Savage Esports again trying to replicate the same thing, just trying to flush things off with the help of this grenade. And look at the speed with which Hershey is just moving in. That's just the confidence. That's a sheer confidence brought from the last match that Hershey had. And now, one defeat onto the name. I guess the second one will also be secured. But I guess that has been already stolen from some different teams, because a lot of teams hovering around the same vicinity. And not only Savage Esports, DRS, the team that really had a good position before the circle made a shift on the northwestern side, are also coming up into the fight. But DRS also getting a lot of banger from different directions. Hustler also coming up into the fight. Kings of BD trying to make a most of the situation. They are again facing a lot of trouble issues into this fight.
They definitely are. I mean, they are definitely going to try and get those points for themselves. And this is where the grenade parade is not going to be able to help out, because 7C's Memo had the better angle in that fight. And this is where his health is definitely going to go against him. But not yet. Not so easy, because Vexy has been brought down to almost 15% health, whereas 7C's Memo will be brought down thanks to Dictator. But he had a really good run. He definitely held on the fort for quite a long time. Memo from the side of 7C going up against all four players of Kings of BD, but it is what it is. And of course, he will be brought down to his knees. Kings of BD get that elimination point for themselves, and as we push on along, it is going to be Savage Esports who find themselves in a very good vicinity, and right next to them is going to be JyanMaara's two players. So Liz and Suzanne going to be making that rotation into the buggy, but out in the open this is not going to be good. But they make it. They made it. All right. So that worked for them, but now they've given away the information to Savage Esports as well.
Oh yes, they're just moving forward to it. But it's us who know that on the right hand side it's DRS already positioned, so Savage Esports just need to look onto the right hand side. And on the northern side of the map, out in the blues, we have ElementriX going up against Paradox, the two left out players, that Scourge and Ego also coming up into the fight. But the Gangsters players are taking down XBROTHERS players pretty badly for the moment. It's still a stalemate situation. Now here Sus is pretty much not in the position. He needs to actually fire at least on a single other player, but he's making sure that if he does, he needs to make sure that his position doesn't get revealed. But Hershey, you better be prepared. Frypan takes him down. Savage Esports are just going all guns blazing unless it is some other team onto the face of it.
Well, let's see what sort of a fight is 7C going to be bringing to this game right here against the players of Savage Esports. Indeed, Hershey has been brought down to his knees, but that kill has not yet been confirmed. Frypan is still waiting to be able to get that kill confirmed, because Savage Esports' players are definitely pushing on along, and Hustler, we can clearly see with the vehicle, is going to be able to get in there to get that revival to his teammate. And Hershey, they know, is a very crucial player that they want to be able to hold on to as long as they possibly can. On the other side, we do have ElementriX being eliminated thanks to Kings of ED as well as Paradox from the looks of it, and Venom Legends. Now a 4-man fanned out approach is what has been showcased from the side of Venom Legends. I did talk about this team in the previous game as well. I want to see a real good comeback from the side of Venom Legends. Nightwing Void, I mean, their synergy is so on point, but will that synergy be enough? Because Savage Esports' Sunshare, we can see, is going to be creating a flank angle from that right hand side, and that is definitely a GG approach being showcased from the side of Savage Esports. So again, synergy working in both these teams is going to be top notch, but who will get the better half of that fight? Who will get those nades exactly onto the opponent's head? That is where the conversation is. As of now, none of them have the better half in this fight.
Watch your back. Savage Esports. From the front, it's Venom Legend, and on the back end side, I can guess it's already JyanMaara or some other teams that are already making it worse for Savage Esports to survive. On different side, it's Noob Alliance that slowly and steadily just falling things off. Out in the open, it's Ligro and Hershey just trying to create a flank. Venom Legends really have a good position at this moment. You can get to see Void along with Steel Shot really holding this sniper nest for the moment. And Savage Esports, I guess they really don't have any other option. And at any point in this game, the aggression can be defeated by just having a good position. And if that happens, Venom Legend has a real clear shot onto that. With that being said, it's Noob Alliance that real bid goodbye to this lobby, and we are just down to 13 teams. where DRS Esports, hold on, they're just moving up into the fight because they are just being slammed upon from 3-4 different directions. And as soon as I said that, Venom Legends are getting the better half of Savage Esports.
Well, this is looking like a very neat fight being showcased from the side of Venom Legends, and now they have the better half of this entire fight. They are going to be pushing on along towards the player of Savage Esports as Hustler has been brought down to his knees. Just one man remaining from the side of Savage, it seems like, and this is not the kind of play that we anticipated from the side of Savage. My correction, there are two players still remaining from the side of Savage. That are going to be Sanchir and Harshay, two very crucial players, but all four members of Venom Legends are going to be pushing on along with those nade parades. This is looking like a downward fight for the side of Savage Esports. They tried to take the fight to the players of Venom Legends, but they have been caught off guard, and Venom Legends, they are in the run. They are definitely grinding it across, but before Harshay says goodbye, he wants to confirm that point, but he will not be allowed to do so. It is going to be Venom Legends walking away with all four players still remaining. That was a good fight. That definitely was a good fight. A good skill being showcased from the synergistic play of Venom Legends. And with that, Mamba also, I mean, TRZ, they were trying, but again, as you had said, they were being crushed from the side of Kings of BD from different approaches and different angles, so they did not hold on their fort for too long. But Venom Legends are very much looking alive with all four players still alive, and look at that zone. There is absolutely no team around them in their vicinity. So many teams are going to be making that rush into the zone itself, and C9 we can see are taking a fight against the players of the S, I think.
Definitely. Gremlin Storms wrapping up the fight. C9 Esports get eliminated. Just the 8 teams, 24 players alive in the lobby. We just saw where DRS Gaming are actually positioned just on the southwest side of the map. They really have a very good chance. If they play their cards really well, they can have the game in their hand. But for the moment, just the 2 players having immense pressure onto Kings of BD. It's Soulless and Suzanne. If you remember, Gunner and Snipe Whitey, they lost to these players in the very first half of the game. And since then, JyanMaara has been completely quiet. They had to. That made real sense. But it seemed that Gremlin Storms are just not able to hold their horses, as now Kings of BD from one direction and DRS Gaming from different directions are throwing a lot of bullets onto the heads. And if here Kings of BD falls down, in DRS Gaming, I guess no one will be able to stop, because they really have a good position. They have the numbers advantage. They have zone reading, everything going into the favor. I guess this is a DRS Gaming's game.
It should be, it could be, but the zone has moved away from them, and this is where things are not looking too good for the side of DRS. But once again, I mean, the thing that's working for them is the fact that you mentioned they are on top of that mountain. They have the information of the opponent teams, and that is something that is going to be so very critical in these final moments as they push on along. On the other side, JyanMaara's 2 players, Susan as well as Soulless, they are hunkering down into this area, into this compound, and they do have the information of their opponent team. That's going to be DG right here. But will the fight be taking place? Will the kill be confirmed? Will the elimination point be given to JyanMaara? That is not looking likely. On the other side, DRS, they have a real good position, but Venom Legends are in a better part of this. Yep, big threat, 4v4.
Last time it was DRS Gaming and Savage Esports. They lost the battle in just 4-5 seconds. If DRS Gaming has to be victorious, they need to take the fight. They need to find themselves in a position where they can easily beat Venom Legends. And it seems that since Venom Legends are in a big split, 2 players holding the center line's position, it won't be a daunting task as much as we would have liked to see for DRS Gaming to make a move onto the edge of the circle, as Venom Legends is completely constricted upon the fights against either Kings of BD or JyanMaara, or the players that are trying to make a move into the zone, and they are not equally cautious about the right hand side team that is already positioned, known as DRS Gaming. But for the moment, it's Void that is just looking around. It seems that he has some senses. He is getting a lot of shots from the right hand side, and yes, he is moving. He is moving his crosshair to the right hand side. He is knowing that yes, someone is on the right hand side and needs to take care of it. But if they don't, I guess DRS Gaming won't just let them go that easy.
Absolutely, we're looking at 5 elimination points for the side of DRS, with all 4 players still remaining on the other side for Venom Legends. We're looking at 7 elimination points, so a GG play being showcased from both these teams, and again, the positioning that both these teams find themselves in is what is definitely helping their cause to get so many points for themselves. And on the other side is going to be JyanMaara Soulless, as well as Susan, who tried to get from one compound to the next, but out in the open, they're going to be caught off guard. Soulless will be going down, and it is going to be the Scarl from the side of Killer YT, which will get that point confirmed for themselves. So 8 elimination points for Venom Legends, along with 6 elimination points for the Real Soldiers. It seems like a 4v4 is bound to happen between these two teams, but who will be the one who will take that better half? Because again, we've seen Venom Legends again and again in so many different tournaments. They try and have that two-man split, and that split could be the reason of their downfall. But with 3 teams remaining, this is going to be a close one between these two.
I don't really know why DRS is not just making the closing. They already know Venom Legends are in a complete split because a lot of shots are being peppered from this team onto different teams. But as soon as I said that, Delta goes down, that leaves down to DRS only 3 players onto their heels, and if one gets to get the revival done, just the 2 players will be in the fighting stance. And it seems like Venom Legends, they're just hungry for all these kills. Whatever head they're trying to spot down, they are just not shying away to pepper any sort of bullet. Circle control is completely going into the favor of Venom Legends, and DRS Gaming, if they can stop Venom Legend from here, this will be one good game for them.
Definitely is going to be working out for their side. On the other front, as we move on towards the players of Venom Legends, they are definitely keeping a very fanned out approach compared to the positioning of the Real Soldiers. They are very much hunkered down. So a couple of good grenades from the side of Venom Legends could very well be the demise of DRS. On the other side, you talk about DRS's rules, OG, who is going on to a completely different flanked out approach. And in that doing so, he's going to be faced with the one final player remaining of WGNRC. And that is where that one final player of NRC could maybe bring a little bit of trouble for the side of DRS. We shall have to see if that will be the case or not, because again, Venom Legends, the way they've positioned themselves, a very well fanned out approach, going to work in that team's favor. But now it is about who or which team is going to be trying to make that push. They are all in a comfortable spot on their bellies, but that's not enough, because the zone is definitely going to push you to take that fight. But which team will get the better half of that kill, we shall have to see.
Positions are being made, grenades are being thrown. Complete lull for last at least 30 to 40 seconds. DRS Gaming, Killer YT just trying to make a move. He knows that there are certain players from Venom Legends close to where they're actually trying to smoke out the areas. This grenade can just be the detrimental one. And in the meanwhile, it's one player still alive from the sides of NRC. Rules is the one, as you perfectly mentioned. He knows where, one good thing for our Rules is he knows where exactly the last player is hiding, because the crosshair is continuously hovering onto the head of it, and he knows the second position, the player of the second position, that is going to be a void. DRS Gaming are not in a hurry. One grenade from Delta takes on Venom Legends, and this is the opening that DRS was waiting for.
Absolutely. I mean, he was trying to get that nade parade going on for quite some time, and finally that nade seems to have worked out in the team's favor. DRS get the better half of that perfect play being showcased from their side, and this is the push that they were waiting for. With that, Panfry goes down, and he will definitely bring down the players of DRS as well, and this is something that was not anticipated. 2 players still remaining. Nightwing, amazing control with the MP49. It is going to be just ludicrous spray being showcased with those 100 bullets in that gun, and this is where DRS's push has been stopped, and still the 2 players from Venom Legends, the elimination has not been confirmed, so the revival could very well be right around the corner.
This is where Void could have been pretty handy, right? It's a 3-1 split, and 2 players since has already been knocked out, so it's only one standing, and he has to give revival at any case. So from both the situation, from both the teams, for the next 30 seconds, I guess healing and patching up work will be done, and then again the opening will be waited for. But in all this situation, the one player brought himself and his team pretty close to where NRCs are actually positioned. 18% is where the team really has a very good chance. And again, Killer YT, the zone takes him out, try to make a push, but as soon as they do so, NRC goes out. Venom Legends, I guess they are the one that can get this.
Well, this is looking like a Venom Legends game. No two ways about it, because DRS's players one by one are going down, and Venom Legends bring in a chicken dinner for themselves and an incredible play. I was talking about this team in the first game as well. I want to see a good comeback from their side, and they have done so gracefully with 13 elimination points, total 28 points along with that chicken dinner, and a total damage of 2097. Perfect approach in this Miramar from the side of Venom Legends, where again, I mean, not only that, right, we have to give credit to this team, because this is the team that took down Savage Esports as well.
Oh, definitely. They really had a roadblock for a lot of time, and Venom Legends really expected that DRS Gaming could have a real good chance over it, but the way they actually tried to make a move, I guess they could have done. Void 3-1 split not working in their favor, but as soon as they tried to make a push, one player went down, and as soon as that M249, that was the game. That was the game for Venom Legends. That M249 action, and DRS Gaming really didn't have that courage to come under that heavy cover fire that was being provided from the rest of the player. Venom Legend, all in all, hats off to you. Really well executed game.
Definitely a very well executed game indeed. The conversations just being so top notch in that final push from the side of the Real Soldiers. I personally thought that DRS could very well take this, because Void was living his own front altogether onto that backline approach of that mountain. So it was like a 4v3 affair where indeed Venom Legends, I think it was Steel Shot, who was able to get that perfect spray and was able to in fact get a knock and an elimination point against the players of DRS, where of course the conversation from a 4v3 situation turned into a 3v3 and DRS were brought down to their knees. And again, I mean, perfect approach from Venom Legends. The conversation being on point, just a synergistic play that was required from the side of this team. That is what they've delivered in this Miramar. So that is good. Again, this is just day number 1. So a lot of things are going to be showcased from these teams from one match to the next. But from tomorrow onwards is where the real countdown will begin. For now, I mean, it's a good game. It's a good game is all I can say.
It has been a real good start. I mean, the team that dominated in the very first match fell short pretty quick in the very first half of the game. Last game, I guess it was for Savage Esports, it was for ElementriX, it was for a lot of team. This time, it was for obviously Gremlin Storm. If we talk about that, Venom Legends, we really had a good shot for Paradox also. But we really have a very good player coming out from this match, and he's going to be the most valuable player for this match. And we'll get to see who is it from this match. None other than Void, the one that really had the flank created from his own table, from his own page. 5 elimination, 787 damage, and a survival time, a complete survival time of 26 minutes and 34 seconds. 4 assists done, 222 healing done. So this was a real good game for themselves, and we'll move on along with a lot of graphics coming, and they're going to be top players from this match. So this was just one player from Venom Legends, that was Void, but we'll see more players. That is going to be the top player list that will be completely showing the complete picture, as in what player, how they did try to dictate Kings of BD. So you will agree with me onto this, that this game was all about the Bangladeshi domination. We talk about Kings of BD, Venom Legend, TRZ hero there. They also jumped up into the fight. We had Dante with 4 eliminations, 753 total damage. Steel Shot with 4 eliminations, 678. Not the way Savage Esports did in the last match, but this was a complete domination that came in.
Definitely, completely agreed. Completely agreed, mate. Because again, I mean, you talk about the TRZ fight also that they took against JyanMaara, right? I mean, that was just so perfectly played from the side of TRZ and so stupidly controlled from JyanMaara, where indeed they tried to get the revival, but it was not the position that was just not required from their side. So yes, I will definitely agree with your point that Bangladeshi domination was showcased in this Miramar game. But with that, the match summary coming on to our screen: 61 elimination, 70 total knocks, and look at that healing amount. I mean, 10,162 total healing done on the map of Miramar. I wonder what this number is going to be on when we move on to Sanhok.
No, definitely. That might just hover around here or there. But let's just head towards the ranking, and we'll get to see a clear picture of where the team actually stands for the moment. So we have Venom Legends with 28 total points. Then we have a DRS Gaming Last game they just fell short pretty quick, but 22 total points are going to be helping them in the course. 15 total matches being played. Kings of BD, 14 total points, 10 elimination, DE Gangsters. So this was the thing that I was talking about. The very first match where teams were not having a very good game for themselves, but this time it was a comeback for all these teams.
Absolutely was. That is so very true indeed. As you move on from the first page to the next is where, I mean, again, you talk about that overall ranking. We did see TRZ found themselves in a pretty good place, but now from this game, only walking away with 2 elimination points and 1 placement point, that is going to hurt their positioning a little bit in the overall. But talk about hurt, 7C Esports, ElementriX. Previous game, they were pretty good, but this time around things kind of shied away from their side. So let's move on along, let's complete the story, have a look at the overall ranking, the storyboard as I like to call it, and find out, well, Savage Esports will be up on top, but that second team, the placement of that second position, which team is that going to be? It is Venom Legends closing in the gap with only 14-point difference.
This makes me remember of the national championship that we we casted together. Venom Legends and one more team I don't remember. They really had a close contestation for the first and second position. Savage Esports, I bet you in the next Erangel they will be completely coming back. But guess what? Whom did Venom Legends stop? It was Savage Esports pretty quick in that position. So that completely shows that if you are pretty much aggressive, yes, be aggressive at your own spot, but positioning can always defeat the aggression with which Savage Esports or any team comes up with. DRS Gaming having a complete leap at which 27 total point is where they are standing at this moment. Not a lot of difference between DRS Gaming and WG and RC, but 9 to 16 looks pretty much dismal. Just 4 total points from 2 matches. Paradox 6. JyanMaara 9, Gremlin Storms, even after getting a lot of circle shifts in their favor, good rotation, they are just not able to hold their fortress well. They need to be better prepared.
Absolutely, and again, I mean, as the day started off, I was keeping high hopes for the side of 2RGR, but it seems like that has really blown over on my face, so I'm not going to pick a team. I'm just going to keep my fingers crossed that the teams that find themselves on that 9 to 16 position are able to better stand, pick themselves up in this upcoming third game that's going to be on Erangel.
No, definitely. Erangel will be a course to actually look at that, where actually teams like Savage Esports dominated. TRZ really had a very good game in that. So it was a game of comeback, and we really expect that to happen, just to have this sort of similarity in the point table, because if one team gets away, it will be a pretty daunting task for them. But for the moment, we'll head towards a short little break. Be right back. Welcome back, folks, to PMPL South Asia Qualifiers. I'm your host Ankit, and alongside joined with me is going to be Broader. And in last two games, we just got to see a lot of hiccups here and there for a lot of teams. But in last game, where in the very first game there was no showstoppers performance from these Bangladeshi teams, the last game was a comeback. The Miramar was the comeback for all these Bangladeshi teams. Next game, what are your expectations, Broader?
Dude, we're going back to Erangel. We're going back to Erangel, so maybe that Mongolian domination that was showcased could very well be brought on along again. On the other side, talk about a comeback. I want to see a comeback from the teams that find themselves on the 9th to the 16th position right now, right?
Oh.
I mean, you've got so many good names down there. And
Gremlin Storm,
along with that,
a lot of teams.
Yep. I mean, ElementriX, this previous game, they only had 1 point. In the first game on Erangel, they had 10 kills and 1 placement point. But right now, they find themselves on the 8th spot with 12 points. So that means Erangel, they only got 1 point. So ElementriX, if they really want to be able to push on along with the top 8 into the PMPL qualifiers, right? So they are going to have to really pick up the pace in this third game because once again, I mean, you do have right now also, since there's just the first day, there still is possibility for teams to make a comeback. But day 2 onwards, where the difference is going to be so much, the teams that find themselves on the 9th to 16th marker, it's going to be tough luck for them.
Definitely, and you talk about comeback, there need to be a comeback. Teams like 7 Seeds, they need to have a real shy of comeback onto them. DRS Gaming, last game itself, I guess, it was just the brilliance from Venom Legends. They could have done anything. The way the M249 actually had a real good firepower into the mid-range, into the circle, that really didn't allow the team to actually come in. A grenade that was lobbed in from Rebel, that made an opening, and at any moment, everyone just their eyes got lit up that yes, this is the moment that DRS will be making a move on to them. But this was the conversation that we talk about all these teams. We need to talk about the schedule that will be getting rolled up on our sleeve. The very first match went in the favor of Savage Esports. That was the game of Erangel. The Miramar went for Venom Legends, and the next Erangel followed by Sanhok, and Erangel will be played. But it's the time where everyone is just loaded into the big bird. And we are jumping straight onto the very third game of the day. The second Erangel and the third game of the day is live pretty shortly onto your TV screens, and we'll get to see where it's actually flying from. And by the looks of it, we can get to see the heights of Stolberg pretty far away. That means it is actually erupting from the area of shooting range, going towards the area of Novorupnoy, pretty much dissecting the map into 2 equal halves. We'll get to see a lot of fights again.
Definitely. I mean, that is the name of the game. It's Battleground. You have to battle your way through every single second that you are part of the map. And again, that is something that the only question that will be raised is which side, or rather, which region is this game going to be dominated by? Which team is going to be the one that will take on the glory of the second Erangel of the day? With that, again, all 16 teams looking pretty neat, looking pretty good. Seal9 going on towards the Georgia pole from the looks of it. And on the other side towards Saverny, we can see the players of DG along with the blah 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 and his teammates basically all hunkering down into the Saverny region, and there is no team around them to contest that region for them. So it is going to be perfect play for the side of that team. Now, compared to the first Erangel, this is going to be a very different play that will be showcased, because the zone in the first one was so certainly into the military base itself. Now, this time around, oh wow, my word, mate, again, it seems like the zone is going to be playing a game of its own, and I want to say, or rather, I want to see the zone push these teams all the way down towards Ferry Priya, and well, that's when the exciting rotations are going to be showcased from these sides. And along with that, when you talk about excitement, the first game of Erangel, the exciting team was definitely Savage, who moved on towards Yasnaya, and once again, they have decided to go on to Yasnaya Poiliana, and there is no team that is going to be contesting that area from their side.
Bring me more water.
Yep,
Bring
exactly.
me more. Bring me more. I guess the same sort of circle that we got to see, but hold on. NRC, Sushti getting 1 knock finish into his name, and now he is up for a grab for the second one. Just trying to hunt down the player. Just get the 1 tire flat at least. of the buggy, and seems the way that speed has been reduced. You see that yes, one tire has already been flat down, and there we go. The second player goes down, and easy peasy knock and finish for NRC. A Sri Lankan team looking pretty promising.
Yep, and on the other side, a team that again I did mention in the previous game as well. 2RGR, a team that I was kind of rooting for, wanting to see the kind of domination that they had showcased into the previous plays. Not really working out for their side in the lobby, sadly. But on the other front, as you move on towards the team that is looking pretty good in the previous game as well, is the side of the Real Soldiers, and DRS are making a rotation for their players. All of them looking pretty good as of now because they all have well, decent loot for themselves, and they are going to be going all down towards
too quick
this. Yep,
too quick for them. I mean, observers, if you are listening to us, please show us the map feed. Would love to see. 3 minutes onto the clock and DRS has already made to military base. That's way too quick. They jump off to the area of Milta, and they have some rudimentary loots into their favor. We just got to see the mini and those vehicles, those level 1 backpack. At least they have something to have a store into the bag if they just get something. But 7C is the same strats, pretty much the same as I guess that we got to see. And here, if the players, Akujod, if he has spotted out the players from the sides of 2RG, there could have been case, but I just spoke too soon. He is on his own. He has nothing apart from punches. He can't throw anything. Exactly. But he knows that someone is on his back.
Definitely does, ought to. And in fact, on the other side, you talk about just the 4-minute marker. He does not have anything apart from a backpack, but at least he has his teammates. On the other side, the team that is going to be pushing on towards him is going to be the team that just lost 2 of their teammates. The team is going to be 2RGR. And of course, we saw those early knocks and confirmed eliminations, which did not favor 2RGR. But this time around, this could very well be their chance to get some points for themselves as well, because at least he has a gun, and Ryu could maybe just bring down Akujod if the possibility will be allowed, because right now Akujod is just moving from one compound to the next. Still does not seem like he's been able to pick up a gun for himself, and well, Rio definitely has a chance to get this elimination point for himself. And there we go. Slowly but surely, Akugor is trying to get away from this position. He does have a UMP. Oh, he does have a UMP. This is going to be a GG play. If at all, he could spray that on to Ryu, but that will not be allowed. And it seems like a nade being cooked from the side of Akujod might just be what was required, but it's going to be far too away. And this is where it is going to be Ryu who will get the better half of this fight. And it is going to be Akujod from the side of 7C getting knocked and blocked and sent back from this lobby. So one elimination point coming in towards the side of 2RGR, and his teammate is pushing on along towards his position because his teammate does not have any gun as of now. So an interesting play in the first 5 minutes of the second Erangel of the day.
No. That's all has been for Erangel. The very first game, we got to see the southern shift, and I guess it's just the flight path that has changed. Circle pretty much the same. Now I would love to see what sort of domination that Savage Esports put up. I would really love to see. DRS Gaming has already made rotation, as I mentioned it earlier. ElementriX, it seems that Liquid is also the one that is trying to make a move, but Mr. Yuzu has some different idea. He's just trying to bridge camp the situation, the Novo side of bridge, and the rest of the player in the same vicinity. No, they are on actually the military base side. On the Novo side, there are other team as well, and into water, into ocean, it's gonna be 7C's Memo. 2-1 split. One player has already been eliminated, and look at where Savage Esports are actually now. They are onto the position. That's the way they actually played the last match. But behind Potato Hill, they are still coming in with DRS Gaming. So DRS Gaming made similar sort of rotation. Gremlin Storm. This time, even if the flight path actually helped them to jump towards the area of Novorod map, but just because they have a secondary drop location towards the area of Georgiopol, they would really be banging their head that why didn't we jump towards the area of Novorod map? They could have really made the difference.
Well, we'll see when exactly are those teams going to be making that rotation, because
JyanMaara. Extreme water rotation.
Oh yes, and look at Seal also. I mean, they are making a rotation, but they are making a completely different rotation. They do not want to be taking that Georgia Bridge, it seems like, at least, and that is going to push them into the blues for now. On the other front, as we move on down towards the south itself, as you so perfectly mentioned, JyanMaara, I mean, that team just came out of nowhere through the water rotation, going to be able to easily get onto the military base, and easily, because there's no team around them to contest that region from them. So a perfect play being showcased from their side. But look at that ferry pier bridge. That is where we did see ElementriX players, and now NRC's players are going to be on into that vicinity as well.
NRC at the same position where they played in the last match of Erangel, but that didn't help them to rag a lot of numbers in their favor. But this time I guess they have some different plans for the moment. Again, it's ElementriX and NRC locking their horns onto this military base bridge. Earlier, ElementriX player was pretty much far apart, but now they are regrouping themselves because they are expecting someone to come from this area. NRC's players knows it pretty well that if we go through this area, we might be just hounded by a lot of players that are just waiting for them to welcome them. 8 minutes, 41 seconds into the markup, just the 3 players taken out of the lobby. And once we move into the second and third zone, the midway transition between the second and third zone, that's the point. That's the point where we can get to see the maximum bloodshed. But the moment of truth is going to be revealed in some moment. Not a hard shift, a complete sort of southeastern shift comprising around the military base island, that I guess that seals the deal that yes, this circle is getting to form around military base that might just move to where ElementriX are actually positioned. And this is a very good strat. You let one play on the bridge to play with, and the rest of the player along with the buggy, because the headspace between the vehicle and the fountain that is actually created, you have the space from which you can actually traverse the buggy. The execution was there, but they didn't realize that Liquid was already out there present to make the thing worse for them.
Exactly. ElementriX, the way this team is playing, I mean, they're playing mind games. The way they held that bridge, and of course the teammates keeping a very keen close eye towards these compounds right next to the bridge, because that's a strat that so many teams do end up doing, taking those buggies and just jumping away from the bridge. And that is something that ElementriX was just waiting and ready for. That is what Liquid is showcasing right here, and this is where NRC's rotation has been taken away from there. And here we go, we've got the elimination being confirmed as well. So 1 defeat for the side of ElementriX, 1 point confirmed for their side, and Doom thought he was okay behind there, but Mr. Huzo, perfect approach.
So he was the one that was actually positioned on the bridge.
Right.
Wow.
This is just, again, I mean, that's what I'm saying, right? ElementriX, they're playing real good mind games right here, where NRC, they had no idea what they were jumping into.
Definitely, and this is the team that really had a very good shy in the last match itself on the game of Miramar. They secured and they went on to the top 4, but I guess the damage has already been dealt. Doom will be surely bleeding off. That just leaves down to the 2 players standing, and I guess he is also under a huge cover fire. And just imagine if someone comes from the back. He's done, I guess.
Exactly. This is not the kind of play that NRC wanted to do, and it is going to be none other than Savage who are going to try and take on that bridge approach. Maybe we shall see if that is what they decide or not. Yes, they have. You're right. I mean, look at the minimap. Yep, the Greys over there. That is exactly the team that we are talking about. Savage Esports is in the vicinity. Now, will ElementriX showcase that sort of a play as they did against NRC to Savage Esports as well? Or will Savage have a completely different approach to how they get onto this military island? For now, NRC not looking too good. ElementriX, Mr. Huzo, is definitely just moving about to get that point confirmed for himself. And yep, he will, with that 2 defeats confirmed for the side of ElementriX. 12 minutes into this game. It is still far away to predict what exactly is going to go down. But Savage Esports have a mind of their own. Again, it's this fight. They take to the face of DG, and it is going to be blah 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 who's been brought down to his knees. Gangster is already down. Blah 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 will be confirmed dead. Not yet. It is going to be Smokey. Mr. Smokey has a very wonderful nade that he's cooked, but it will not connect, and he is going to have to go away and fight. another day maybe? No, not going to be allowed that as well. This is not looking good for DG.
No, certainly not. Certainly not. And I guess this one's grenade just bounces onto his head. He'll be done pretty much. And I guess DG. So Savage Esports taking two simultaneous fight, but with Gangsters and one with the other team itself. Not looking good. On the other different side, Seal9 are just falling themselves away. I used the last player standing from DE Gangsters, and as soon as he's taken care of, it's a complete wipe for them. Sanchir needs to revive himself off, and there we have it, the tandem, the duo going in. It's Ligro along with Hustler just trying to hustle things up, and he is under a huge pressure left, right and center and burned to death. A complete squad wipe from the sides of Savage Esports, as clean as a slate.
Absolutely. The Gangsters have been brought down and knocked and confirmed, eliminated with 4 points confirmed from the side of Savage Esports. But now their journey has just started. Yes, they've been able to get this compound for themselves, but now they have to get into the comfort of the zone as well, as the zone is down to the military base and they are 800 meters away. And again, the zone has pushed away from that region. And this is where now, again, you look onto the bridge. Savage Esports has no idea, but the bridge camp has been removed. And that is where Savage Esports could very well be making that rotation.
Definitely.
On the other side, Kings of BD have a different fight being taken on against the players of 7C, where Vexy, with some perfectly set up nades, is trying to get some points, elimination points for himself, and also get the revival on his teammates. But they are out in the open, so this is going to be a tough situation for Vexy to be able to help his teammates out.
Kings of BD in a precarious situation. Dictator and Dante already down on their knees. Smokes have been used pretty cautiously to get the revival done. But
sorry, I was just looking at the
yep, I understand.
And yep, exactly.
Savage Esports against Gremlin Storms. Unstoppable. I guess Erangel is their game. Erangel
it definitely looks like it. This is just bonkers being showcased from their side. On the other front, Seal9 are losing players. They've already lost 2 players to the play zone as they tried to make that water rotation. From Georgia Pole, they were making that late rotation, late push. But now as the zone has moved away completely from the main island, they are making that rotation from the western fronts of the water region. And that is where they are being caught off into the blue zones itself. On the other side, talk about Kings of BD. Vexy, along with his teammates, have been able to get the revival on their teammates, and 7C seem to be deciding to get away from that position. Once again in the play zone we see Seal9's players, and that is all thanks to the blue zone that they've been brought down to a one-man army. But right here in the 7C and Kings of BD fight, it is a 4v3 affair where 7C definitely seems like they want to be moving away from this fight and do not want to push on their luck more because they've already lost a god.
Oh wow, the real nice spot coming in from Memo. He knows that somebody is already present on the back and you need to check the back. If not, you will be completely backstabbed, and for the moment, Kings of BD anyhow holding on to their horses. One good thing is all about that they had given revival to all the players, everyone on the feet, but the zone just tilts away. 160 meter is what all they need to travel, and in all this situation, there is one more team on the back just waiting to backstab them. XBROTHER plays on taking down Dominic. It's the moment that XBROTHER need to just hold themselves up. Seal9, Inky also going down. Seal9 also not in a good position. Play zone, a big factor into these games. You need to pay respect to all these circles. Zaki falling things himself back. Evil Eye going down. So already play zone has taken care of at least 4 to 5 players. And Seal9 have been completely bamboozled by the Blues.
Absolutely. Just not their day. Just not their day, as it turns out to be. Not only them, but look at XBROTHERS also taking a lot of damage from this blue zone, and it is all thanks to Kings of BD. The way they've held this fort against these two teams, XBROTHERS as well as 7C, and with that, easily Kings of BD are going to be able to have all 4 players still surviving. Mahfouz Whitey definitely needs a revival, but overall, this team will be able to walk into the zone comfortably with 3 confirmed elimination points for themselves. And on the other side of this map altogether is going to be Paradox, who are, as we can see onto the mini map, towards the northern side of this zone and very closer to the proximity of Savage Esports, wherein Savage Esports, they have taken a hunkering down into the compound. But for how long? Because they are at the edge, and the zone, as soon as it starts moving, they're going to have to get in the open, and that is where another team could maybe get the better half from their positioning.
No Paradox.
But Paradox have a best compound for them.
Yes, they really do have the best of the compound to themselves, but I really had my heart in my mouth. The way the Paradox player were moving out in the open, not
Right,
the
yes.
best position on the backside of the buggy, because who is in the proximity? It's Savage Esports, the team that has already taken care of at least two teams. This is looking good for Savage as well for Paradox. The circle completely favoring DRS Gaming's position. We just got to see they are in the dead smack center. But the next shift will be completely, I guess, going away because Savage Esports, now they are playing the edges of the circle. And in the meanwhile, TRZ taking care of one more Sri Lankan team. And as we got to say, Savage Esports also coming up into the fight. So both the Sri Lankan teams under heavy beating.
Absolutely, and Mehfooz Whitey has been given revival, but it is going to be Paradox's Ego who will get a third-party situation against Mehfooz Whitey from Para, and it is just incredible play that is being showcased from Kings of VD, but eventually there is a lot of third parties being created. If we look onto the kill feed, Venom Legends is also part of it. XBROTHERS are still not yet done. They are still holding on their forts, and we can clearly see they are taking on the players. Venom confirming that Sri Lankan player will not be able to walk out of this position, but above him is going to be, of course, Mamba that we saw a couple of minutes ago. So will TRZ get Venom from side of XBROTHERS, or will it be him taking the point two for himself and his team?
An elite from XBROTHERS is taking fight, we can get to see. But as soon as he get the knock, eventually he also perishes down. The blue becoming a dark horse for all these teams. A horror, I would rather say, for all these players. Look at where the blues actually stopped for Venom.
Exactly.
Look at this is something that I guess Venom feels lucky about and needs to be. Jimmy out for a run, he will be taken care of. Get into the zone, but that's not going to be the case. Noob Alliance falls down, just a 10 team slaughter. And what a game this has all been about. What a game. Again, back-to-back military base finish, and this time, I guess, since 4 players is still alive from Savage Esports, I expect them to be at their best, and as soon as they do so, TRZ Esports realizing it's just the 1 player, so why not get one more finish point acclimated in their favor. They just went, but Para's ego is taking the fight, and I want Paradox. Come on, you can just get your numbers, you can just get all these numbers into your favors. Before this match, Paradox were actually at the 14th position, just the 6 total points. And if they have to make a comeback today, because tomorrow it will be a try-hard effort, and at the end, it will just be the 5 games left. So why not start it from here itself?
Absolutely, definitely, and that is exactly what Paradox is trying to bring in, as well as we do have DRS taking the fight to the team that they've got off in the open. That's going to be none other than Venom Legends, and Killer White T has been brought down to his knees as well, and Paradox still taking a fight, bringing down the players of Savage this time around. Sadly, Paradox, I mean, they are taking the fight, but the points are not being confirmed for their side because they are just eliminating in... rather knocking but not eliminating is what I wanted to say. And now we've got Kings of BD against all 4 players of Savage Esports. And this is where the nade parade being showcased from their side is definitely causing a lot of ruckus for Kings of BD, where Dictator, he is not looking good, and he will go down thanks to those nade parades, and Hustler being the man from the side of Savage to confirm that elimination point for his team. With that, Savage looking pretty good with 8 to 9 elimination points already confirmed for their side. But look at Paradox out in the open, far away. Not out in the open, sorry, but in the compounds, trying to make that rotation and get into the zone as well. But seems like Hustler has better awareness and will be bringing the pain to the name of G1 from Paradox.
Well, definitely, Savage Esports is unstoppable at this moment. I guess Frypan last player standing, but for how long, that's the big question. He perishes down, Frypan eliminated, Venom Legends falls down, just 2 points as finish secured in the name. Savage Esports, now they have a real big challenge for them. Right inside, it's Paradox, but the way they are making look things so easy, it seems that it's just going to be a cakewalk for them. Paradox courage goes down, ElementriX Liquid is the one trying to pressure them up. Zone shifts away, complete tilt going into the favor of DRS Gaming. ElementriX can just be the next one onto the crosshair of Savage Esports.
Absolutely. ElementriX definitely have a lot of information, but right here we have to see who is going to be better skilled with those guns, and this is where Savage definitely are going to be standing out a little bit, because all 4 players of Savage Esports have real good health and utilities working for their sides. On the other front, for the side of ElementriX, even though they have the information, sadly, their points are not being given to them because Savage is just on top of that fight. Now, this is where ElementriX are going to be taking a back-end approach and walking away from that situation. 5 teams remaining, 11 elimination points to the side of Savage, and the game is still not done because DRS is still in the arena with all 4 players still remaining from their side.
Last time it was 26. Even if they take half of it, I'm pretty much happy. And talking about the half, 26 half, it's 13, and they have already reached to 11, so just too shy away from what I call it half. But just hold on to the nerves. But as we just get to see, you get that one red bar that has again been revived. Savage Esports, how hard they are being hit. They have some real good options. They really come back strong. For the moment, it's a 4v4 affair. Where all 4 players are standing, but a complete chaos has been struck down. JyanMaara taking things away, and Savage Esports been completely undershadowed.
Wow.
Snipe Whitey putting the final nail in the coffin, and there we have it. Savage Esports, finally there is one team, I should rather say one player, that can take care of it. But before going down, Savage secured 17 total points from the match.
Absolutely. Now it is a DRS affair where 4 players strong DRS is looking to take this fight for their side, taken to chicken dinner for their side, as well as we can clearly see they've pushed on along. Killer Whitey not looking too good. His health has been brought down to 15 thanks to those nade parades being showcased from Mamba, but he is a one-man squad because STFU has been brought down to his knees, and this is where Mamba needs to be real careful, dude. If you're not, you're going to be brought down, and that's exactly what Delta did with that Molotov. But somehow, Mamba still has that perfect edge, and not for long, though, because again, numbers advantage, DRS pushing on along with all 4 players, getting a perfect knock and confirmed elimination, and TRZ has been brought down. So with that, we've got 3 teams remaining, JyanMaara 2 players remaining, along with, of course, ElementriX. And ElementriX also, well, we can very well expect them to damage the positioning of DRS from this fight.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the way DRS Gaming is actually playing this match, this makes me remember the very last match with the help of which they won the complete title, if you remember. This was the same sort of circle where the circle tilted towards the military base island, and there were pretty different teams in the vicinity, but the playstyle is pretty same for DRS Gaming. Rules still surviving. 3 players out in the open from the sides of ElementriX. Look at the way how beautifully they are positioned. 3-1 split coming in from the sides of DRS, Rules, Delta, and Killer Whitey. Close affair. Rebel in the smoke, just trying to heal himself up, and the one player is just trying to scout out the areas. And on a different side, JyanMaara's position has already been given away because there are some buggies that have been blown up, and the flames can already be spotted down by the players. And as soon as Liquid makes a move, Snipe Whitey spots him down. He was the only one player that actually blowed the vehicles of Savage Esports, and because of it, Savage Esports are out of the lobby. Just the 3 teams, 9 players are still alive. And if you talk about the winner chicken dinner forecast, it's completely heavily favoring in the favor of DRS Gaming with 41%.
Absolutely, with all 4 players alive, that is definitely going to be the case. But once again, like I said earlier, it is going to be maybe the side of ElementriX that might just be able to bring a little bit of a ruckus situation towards the confirmed chicken dinner that can be anticipated from the side of DRS with the forecast. But Incus bringing in a lot of damage to the positioning of DRS. Rules OG has moved on along into a very beautiful flank angle that Incus has absolutely no idea about. And this is where the X factor from the side of that 3-1 split from DRS could maybe favor the chicken dinner forecast that DRS has been predicted to get. But who will get that better half? Right now, it is going to be JyanMaara's Gunner, the only man surviving, just a one-man squad all by himself. So he's going to be playing a snail's pace approach in the final few moments of this game. Still, again, these 3 players from ElementriX, I'm anticipating, can still cause a lot of ruckus. But that one position from DRS's Rules could very well be the downfall of ElementriX. We shall see.
Definitely, and Rules has an ample amount of information, because if you remember, Rules was the one that was trying to make a move with the help of that Dacia, and he was being shot. That means he knows that there are a lot of players out there, and as we just saw that, we had a lot of talk about that. 9 finishes where ElementriX are standing at this moment. Can they convert into a double-digit markup? I'm for sure that they might be able to take at least one player down, but it's now a 4v3 situation where there is a good chunk of zone going into the favor of actually no team. Everyone is just out of it. 6 meter is what Incas needs to make a move into the zone, and his health has already been put down with the help of that grenade. Just trying to make some random fires here and there, but Killer brings that opening that DRS was waiting for. Hyuzu goes down, and again back to back. This time it should be a chicken for DRS. Last time it didn't happen because it was Venom Legend. I guess the number disadvantage can be the one, and eventually it's just the two players standing from the sides of ElementriX. I guess that shouldn't be a problem for DRS.
Absolutely easy game coming in for the side of DRS, where indeed they will get that chicken dinner confirmed for their side. And what a play being showcased from, I have to say, I mean, both these teams actually. ElementriX, they're playing a very consistent game from the start of the day itself, right? I mean, in the first game they had 10 kills. In this one also they had pretty good elimination points. So a GG play being showcased from their side, but DRS, the real soldiers, are the ones taking the chicken dinner from this game with 9 total eliminations. 1500 plus damage, 1574 to be precise, and well, there we have it. I mean, the third game, the second Erangel of the day, going down towards the real soldiers.
And what a game, what a game. We talked about both the circles. So now, it's just come down to one thing. Savage Esports dominated in the very first game, but then the two game, they have that aggression has been completely shut down, and that happens when you are playing against this lobby. They have the real worldwide experience, and that comes down to this. DRS Gaming, I mean, they have been absolutely fantastic. Last time it was just the cover fire that Steel Shot brought in with the help of that M249, but this time it was just enough for them to make a move into the circle, into the zone, and they just got the chicken for themselves. And I guess with that chicken, they might be just edging everyone out with the top spot. What do you think?
Definitely. I mean, but again, you know, nothing taken away from Savage Esports' play. They did get 17 points. I mean, there was a moment where they were just getting kill after kill, and the elimination points, that is where the game is all about when it comes to Savage Esports. So that also worked out in their favor. They were able to eliminate 2 squads, right? So that itself gave them 8 elimination points, and then along after that they got here and there eliminations. So decent play. They're still maintaining the lead that they've been able to create, right? So now we shall see with Venom Legends. Previously in the overall ranking, Venom Legends was 14 points shy of the first position. Now we shall see how big a difference is that going to be on the storyboard. But before we talk about all that, let's go ahead and have a look at the most valuable player from this game.
Definitely, and he's none other than Sanchir. I was trying to take a bit of credit away, let me go away with that, but it's Sanchir that comes in, 4 elimination, 803 damage that he was able to secure, just a survival time of 21 minutes 57 seconds. So this is the experience that he brings in, and this, if you remember, he played with the Apes last time with the different org that he played in, and this time he's trying to have a synergy with different players. But with that being said, we are quickly moving and heading towards the top players of this match. This was all about Sanchir. Let's just see what all other players had to offer. So it was Liquid from ElementriX, 3 elimination, 875 damage. Mamba, finally he has to be there. It took 2 games to find himself in the top player, but finally this third game brought him in the chart.
Absolutely, and this is where we move on through to the summary of this game, the third game of the day that was played on Erangel, and this is where we shall see how many grenade kills and eliminations were there. There were 2. Total healings was 7,880. Along with that, I mean, total knocks, pretty synergistic play being showcased from the entire lobby right here in this game, where total eliminations are 50, total knocks are 58. It's only 8 revivals that were given all across, but GG play being showcased from the entire lobby. But along with that, as we move on through, we've got Snipe YT with 244 meters of longest elimination distance.
Definitely. His name is Snipe YT, and I guess he has been completely living up to his name. But we'll move on towards the forward graphics, and that will be completely showing what sort of total point team were able to secure. So 24 was DRS Gaming's number. ElementriX 21, Savage Esports 17. So the threshold that they have said anyway, close to 15 is not acceptable for me from Savage Esports.
Well, we shall see. Again, the day is just 1, right? This is just day number 1, sorry. So things are definitely going to change as we progress on from the first to the second day. But right now, the lobby is definitely coming alive. I mean, the first game we were just completely blown away with Savage Esports' play, but as the games have progressed on, the third game of the day coming to an end, and the lobby is definitely shifting from one map to the other, from one game to the next. It is still anybody's game for the moment, but the teams that find themselves on the second page, right, 9 to 16, that is where we were anticipating to see a little bit of change. ElementriX right here on the second looking pretty good, but where is the change? Paradox moving thanks to the placement points to the 9th spot. 4 points to them is definitely going to be helping out their cause, but 2 RGR Esports with only 1 elimination point, 7C Esports with 1 placement point, Gremlin Storm, DE Gangsters, these teams, they are going to have to showcase a different play style altogether if they want to be able to survive and be a part of the PMPL qualifier in the top 8. Along with that, we can actually bring in the conversation now to S9 as well. I mean, Seal9, they are not having a good day number 1 at all.
We just saw 3 players getting taken down by the Blues itself, and then we have this overall ranking. If we talk about Seal9 Esports, I would love to see where they're actually positioned pretty much on the second half of the chart, but first, still being dominated. The 17 point is still enough for Savage Esports to still grab the first spot. 61 total points, an average of close to 20 for Savage Esports. DRS Gaming, they have really closed up the markup, and then we have a big drop, 51 then 34 for Venom Legends, because last game Venom Legends did perish down. If you remember, the last play was Fry Pan. He denied the kill, he just find himself behind that big trunk of the tree, and he just denied the kill in the Blues. Then we have ElementriX, 33 total points. So from 34, 33, 31 looks pretty good. At the end of the day, you have to be in the top 8. But the difference that has been created already between 61 to 24, that's pretty massive.
That is true. That is so true indeed. And again, I mean, this is day number 1 where a lot of these teams in the first page are creating a massive lead for themselves. But as we move on to the second page, right, on the 8th position, we saw 30 points. And now from 8th to the 9th position, we're looking at 14 points. So a 16 mark difference right there is quite a lot to be able to get from one single game. And that is what we were talking about as the day started off as well. Again, in all of this conversation, look at Seal9 Esports. I mean, S9, nobody could have anticipated a team so well equipped for the domination streak that they've been known for are going to find themselves after 3 games on the 15th position. Are they just testing the waters right now, or are they really missing out on... Not entirely sure. We shall have to see. But again, keep it an open mind. This is looking tough for the teams on the second page. This is looking tough because the points on the first page, especially in the top 4, they are going way overboard with 60 plus points, right?
Definitely. I mean, the Paradox, just the 10 points. Seal9 Esports, just the 6. If we talk about testing the water, they have been pretty much testing the Blues out there, and I guess they know the taste. That's pretty brutal, the way Seal9 has been going down. Team with the PMPL experience as such going down, 3 matches, 6 total points, pretty unacceptable. Paradox, we just got to see a complete roster shuffle into them. Some players are the one that have played in the past and just trying to have a real approach in this tournament itself. But if you are really testing the water, you be better prepared that you have just the 3 days, 15 matches affair in which already 3 match has been dealt. And you cannot just count upon the last day. Last day is just about the tryout effort. You may just get to see some drop clashes being set down, because now till the moment we have already known that what drop location has been done on Erangel, on Miramar, but the next game is going to be of Sanhok, and we'll get to see in a little while.
Definitely, but before we do so, we're going to jump on to a short little break. Stick around, we're going to be right back.
Welcome back, folks, to PMPL South Asia Qualifiers. I'm Ankit, and it is going to be Blotter joining along with me. 3 games done, and we are about to jump into the game of Sanhok, where things are going to be pretty difficult for the team. The way the zone has been going and having a complete love affair with Circle, with Water. What do you expect from this match?
Oh, I'm exhilarated. I'm definitely going to be hoping that the Circle this time around is again going to push us into an aggressive stance on this map. With that, let's move on ahead and have a look at the schedule. As we did just mention, 3 games done, 2 more remain for the day. The first Sanhok of PMPL qualifiers right here. And this is where these teams are going to be hunkering down against each other. But where will the contestations be held? Where exactly is the zone going to be pushing these teams? That is what the answer... Well, we'll find out in just a couple of minutes as soon as that flight path is on our screen.
Definitely, and I guess the call has been made for the producer. And we are straight away jumping into this game of Sanhok. Boot camp. I want someone. I want at least 2 teams in the area of boot camp. Fight themselves. Fight your metal out there. The very first game of this Sanhok. Eventually 3 Sanhoks will be played, out of which the very first is played right now. The flight path doesn't really matter. Even if you want to glide towards the area of Mongnai, you need to have those being parachuted pretty early. You can still have a long glide. It's 2RG jumping towards the Hatin area. Savage Esports are also jumping onto the area. Painan being completely occupied by XBROTHERS, and I can see a splash of colors in the area of bootcamp. That means we can expect certain teams, and I guess it's 2-3 teams, Blotter. I'm not even kidding.
Yes. That's what the fun is, right? That's exactly what the fun is when it comes to Sanhok. You know that there are going to be aggressive plays, and this is where Seal9 Inky has already been confirmed killed in the first few seconds of the game. 1 minute in, and it's going to be Gremlin Storm who take the fight to the face of Seal9 players, and Inky has been brought down to his knees and in fact been eliminated. So first blood has been confirmed thanks to Gremlin Storm, and dude, I just don't know what's going on with Seal9. Are they the same players? I mean, the way that this team was playing earlier compared to, or maybe they're just testing the waters, but I don't know, testing the waters with only 15 games in your hand, and they're on the second page of the leaderboard, on the 15th place also, so not looking good, definitely not looking good. On the other front, we talk about DRS Esports. Mamba taking a lead against the players of WGNRC, and it is going to be Susti who will be brought down and sent back into the lobby. So with that, NRC down to 3-man squad, Seal9 down to a 3-man squad, where Gremlin Storm and TRZ are the teams who are taking on that early aggression.
What else could we have expected? All the Erangel and Miramar that we have seen on today's gameplay has been quite adventurous one, and this had to be this one. The way Sanhok started things off has been on a complete good way. Seal9 Esports. The names are pretty the same. We have Senior, we have Zaki, and we have Inky. But the gameplay has completely tarnished. Gremlin Storm completely engulfing the players of Seal9. Senior has been already spotted down. Rafat has that Uzi. If he gets himself in the crosshair, the close range can be the detrimental one. But far away, we have ElementriX going up against Noob Alliance, and a very long spray. 2 players has already been pulled down. It's Jimmy and one more, and it seems that ElementriX has just no stopping. Game by game, fight by fight, they are just having a top-notch performance. Just there we have it. Kapshi with a drop shot. Senor.
Not the Seal9 that I know. Definitely not the playstyle that I know from the side of Seal9, and in doing so, Gremlin Storm did take a little bit of damage. 2 of their players have been knocked, but Zaki, now come on, can he do something? Can he revive the old glorious Seal9 that we know and love? Will he be allowed to do so? He will definitely take on that spray to the face of Gremlin Storm's Kapshi, and now Zaki's on the move. He is on the run all by himself. A 1-man army trying to take on as many elimination points as he possibly can, but this time that he's giving Gremlin Storm, that is the time that they needed to get that revival done, to get their health all the way up to 100%, and this is where things can go haywire. But Zaki is still not yet done, able to bring down 2 players down to their knees, and finally it is going to be Evil Eye who will nail the coffin onto the face of Seal9's players, and in doing so, this has been an incredible push. But now Gremlin Storm better be well equipped, because WGNRC are right around the vicinity to take on the fight.
Eventually, NRC took down Kapshi, and that was the very first gen that Seal9 was waiting for, and that really helps Senior to make a move into them. But Doom, there goes we. Boom, Evil Eyes goes down, and Gremlin Storm are being completely hounded by 3 players coming in. NRC just making a charge. Gremlin Storm on the verge of getting eliminated. 1 finish point has also been secured, make it to 2. Vector in hand. We know how all these 9mm gun can be so detrimental. These SMGs in close range fight that can be real perishable item for the moment. It's Bad Rip pretty much on his own alone, and there we have it. There we have it, sealing the deal. There we have it. 2 teams out of the lobby. We still have 14 in the game left, but what to an adventurous start in this game of Sanhok. And the viewers that who have just joined in, it is going to be just the 8 teams, the top 8 teams out of 16 that will be moving into the PMPL.
Exactly, which is why this is the PMPL qualifiers. We've got 16 teams, but only 8 lucky ones. Well, not the lucky ones, the good ones, the best ones amongst the lobby are going to push on forth. And in that, the name, I mean, the word itself just does not do justice, because we've got Seal9, a team that is so very well known for its aggression, sitting at the 15th spot. So anything can happen in the next 2 days. It is a 3-day affair, and along with that, it is ElementriX, who today on day number 1 are definitely playing their cards right. I mean, this team, ElementriX, they have been very, very good in terms of their approach in every single fight. Even though they have just lost one of their players, they are down to a 2-man squad, but still they are going to take on that fight to the face of Noob Alliance, where Noob Alliance is also a 2-man squad. Razor and Lucifer are the 2-man who are remaining from the side of Noob. But will they be enough? Will they be enough to take on ElementriX's players? Because Orange is ready, so is his teammate Liquid. It seems like they've got the information, but Lucifer, he has the flank. He has the perfect flank angle where Orange is not even looking. So if Lucifer decides to push on, he can very well take this fight to the face of ElementriX. But will that be the case or not? Because Orange is ready. Orange is going to be up on high, and he is going to be brought on down thanks to, of course, Lucifer. Just the perfect approach, changing the gun in middle of that spray to get that kill confirmed for himself. ElementriX has been brought down to just a 1-man squad. Noob Alliance looking pretty good. I mean, ElementriX were the ones who were aggressing on to the players of Noob Alliance from so far away. Yeah. And now ElementriX is the one who seems to be taking the wrath of Noob Alliance, where indeed 2 players are going to try and take on this one final lad from ElementriX. That's going to be Liquid.
Oh, definitely. They have taken a lot of wrath. ElementriX just 1 player alive, and that's a pretty questionable push. But at that point, it didn't look questionable. The way they tried to make a push, 2 players down, Noob Alliance were already being hounded from different directions, and it could have been an easy walk. But the way they have retaliated, hats off to Noob Alliance. The way they have actually pulverized the opponent, that has been so good. And not only this team, it's also NRC. So Sri Lankan team in this tropical rainforest playing pretty good in terms of the reinforcement, in terms of the cover fire that we all expect. 55 meter is what all they need to make a move into the zone. But Liquid just on his lone sub, and far away we can get to see it's 2 RGR. The players are in the vicinity, but still way away. And because of that, Lucifer is having a close and a keen eye that someone just might not sneak in from different direction. But we talked about sneak in. Seems like Razor is having some real tough time to have a real jump from that rock.
Absolutely. He's trying to get some information for his teammate Lucifer, who is just holding the fort in the backlines right now. And Razor knows that there is a player from the opponent team very close by in the vicinity. But again, he has no information. And of course, that is what has caused them to just be in that snail pace situation. On the other front, as we move on to the map itself, we can see quite a lot of fanned out approach from these teams. We were just looking at Noob's players, and of course they are taking the fight that is going to be towards the western front, as we can see, and 2 RG's players are going to be crossing that bridge as well. And as we move on to the center of this zone, we've got NRC looking pretty comfortable in that boot camp, where we did see early eliminations of those 2 teams, where Gremlin took down Seal9, but then they themselves were taken down thanks to NRC's approach. But right next to their vicinity of the boot camp is going to be Kings of BD. So Kings of BD, again, a very aggressive team. Are they going to push on into that camp, or are they going to hold on to their fort? As of now, we're just a few minutes into the game, but quite a lot of ruckus has been showcased. But now things seem to be slowing down a little bit. And all the way, if we talk about slowing down, look at DG. The way they've got that fanned out approach, a two-man split, where it is just a ludicrous amount of split that they've been able to create right now. But thankfully, there's absolutely no team around in the vicinity for both of them to be able to get contested. So that is definitely going to be working in the team's favor. But right here, as we move on to the second airdrop, that is where 7C is there. That is where XBROTHERS are there, TRZ, as well as one more team that seems to be like JyanMaara. So that quarry region can be the next contestation, the next fight that we can anticipate from this lobby.
Well, definitely a pretty standard circle, and not only the Gangsters, two RGR, two players close to where the Heartland Bridge is actually positioned, and two players where the Ruins Bridge is there. So, pretty standard circle, having a standard hard shift that we expect, that you just said, maybe towards the area of Painan and Query, and expect the circle to form around Painan. These sort of circles have a real tendency to form and have a position around Painan. But look at the space from Ruins to Shami, where DRS are actually positioned.
Exactly, right?
It's a complete open. DRS again has a real good shy to flourish themselves in this map again, because I don't see them, until unless they just go haywire, them getting indulged in any fight for next 5 minutes. And just look at the number of teams that are in the closer vicinity. The eastern side of Painan completely jam-packed, with still Venom Legend to join the frame, with still Paradox from the northern side. And apart from all these fights, there in peace it prevails DRS Gaming.
Oh, yes, that is true. That is so very true. But we shall see if the fights that are to be anticipated in the quarter region are going to result in an elimination of the teams as of now or not. As we did just mention, there's TRZ, there's JyanMaara right around that vicinity, and the fight is definitely breaking down with Mad Cat trying to push on against Soulless. Soulless with a perfect UMP spray could very well bring down the player, but it seems like the health that Mad Cat was wanting to get is definitely not going to be provided to him, and he will be brought down to his knees, and not only that, but be eliminated. And the elimination point is what JyanMaara are going to walk away with. But that's not it, because the four-man squad know that the opponent team is right around the vicinity, and the fight is what they are going to push on for. But TRZ, they are well equipped, they are ready, they know how to handle aggression. Will this fight be allowed to go in JyanMaara's favor, or is it going to be TRZ? We shall see.
No, definitely. Revenge needs to be taken, and I want some players to be taken out. Has been laid on, but he misses some sort. Gets connected. It's Suzanne for you. Pretty much down on his knees. Savage Esports, now they are pretty much alert. And with that being said, JyanMaara, they need to make sure that on the backhand side it's TRZ. On front there is one big Goliath named as Savage Esports that secured 26 finish point. So it's going to be tough affair for JyanMaara. I guess any of these teams will be retaliating soon.
They definitely will. Right now we are hunkering down, because again these teams are just taking it a slow snail pace approach into the aggressive stance that we want them to show us on the other side. If you look onto the kill feed, it seems like Noob Alliance has been eliminated thanks to ElementriX, I think it was, and now it is back to the fight that is on our screens. Of course, TRZ against the players of JyanMaara, where JyanMaara have let know that Savage, here we are, mate. Here we are. And that is what Savage were waiting for. Because again, it was Hershey who was just pushing on to get the information as to where all are the opponents. And now JyanMaara taking the fight, taken that knock, or rather given that knock to Hershey, has given away the information. So now this is definitely going to turn into a very precarious situation for JyanMaara as well as TRZ. Because, well, we know Savage is not going to back down. We can clearly see Sanchar, Hustler, the way they're creating that flank angle. They are pushing on to this compound where JyanMaara find themselves, but not for long, because they are in the middle. On the back end is going to be TRZ. And from one side, we also do have the Savage approach from the side of Savage Esports.
Definitely. So now what started off with a bonker just exploded in the very first minute. The last 5 to 6 minutes has been a complete lull, apart from here or there 1 or 2 knock. Just the 13 minutes into the game, 47 players, 13 teams still alive, everyone just finding themselves in a sweet little spot. TRZ just lost 1 player out here. And TRZ have been looking pretty good before this match actually started. TRZ had a real good shy onto this game itself. They were on the 6th position Apart from Venom Legends, they have been the most consistent in all these three games that we get to see. As we
Dude,
talked about,
XBROTHERS.
DRS Gaming also in the position. But yes,
Yes.
XBROTHERS, and not only just XBROTHERS, Savage Esports, 7Cs, the Gangsters, Paradox. Look at the number of teams.
They are going to have to make a rush, make a push, and as they do so, I'm hoping and anticipating XBROTHERS to get the better half of all of those rotations and fights where indeed DRS, they're just taking a chill pill. You had called it a few minutes earlier. They are definitely taking a chill pill for the next 5 minutes and they are not wanting to push on unnecessarily, which of course works in their favor. I mean, just let all the other teams fight and then slowly and steadily as you move on to the final moments of the game, DRS comes on alive. But right now, we shall have to see from the Eastern Front, as so many teams are going to make this rotation, which team will be allowed and which team is not going to be allowed, is what the communication or the conversation is going to result down towards. And with that,
Again?
WGNRC's Doom completely eliminate, destroy the rotation being showcased from the side of Savage Esports. And that's the reason why we say, if you're on Sanhok, you better not use any vehicles because the audio cue is going to be given away so much. And that is where Doom came into action. A complete perfect spray. 4 members down. Savage Esports burnt to the crisp into the ground.
The same way. The same way they died the last match in game of Erangel. So not a lot of change that has been made. Now JyanMaara, they know that yes, Savage has been eliminated. So now TRZ, the team that is in front of them, look at the way they're trying to engulf them. Soulless, just trying to get the flank along with the gunner and just trying to create the flush angle. The grenade comes in and Atomic with the very precise moment comes in. The synchronized grenade working in their favor, and I guess this fight will be wrapped out in the next second. And JyanMaara, they're showing the experience that they are known for. Buggy, yes, that's an option to fall yourself back away, but with the help with which he's falling himself back away, he won't be allowed. DRS Esports perishes. And a perfect example, if anyone who is looking to find himself in the esports scenario in near future, that's the way to actually make a push. You get one knock, you know that one player is already, the team is already down on one player, you get those synchronized grenades done, and you get these finish points racked up in your numbers.
Absolutely. And again, talking about those finishes, look at how this team of NRC is moving on about. WG NRC with 8 eliminations already confirmed in their name. 16 minutes in, we're down to 10 teams remaining. JyanMaara also looking pretty comfortable with all the 4 finishes that they've been able to accumulate as of now are all down to just one-man army. That is going to be the teammate of Gunner. But as of now, as they try and get into the zone, they're about 250 meters out. Paradox is going to be in their vicinity as well. They decide to not take a fight, which is a really good decision because they are in the open. They're going to have to make the rotation to get into the zone first. And as they do so, so is Paradox. But will they be taking a fight once they get into the zone? And it seems like WGNRC has different agenda in mind for the likes of Paradox as they try and get that rotation made. It is something that will not be allowed, or well, for now it will be allowed, but of course the information has been given away to the players of WGNRC, and there we go. Perfect spray being showcased, and this is where the elimination points are going to be racking up for WGNRC. Amar right here with some amazing ludicrous approach, but XBROTHERS from far out, I think, were the ones who were taking on a little bit of a shot against the players of WGNRC as well.
The circle, look at the circle. I told you, Painan. Painan is going to be the hotbed of contestation. At least 30% of the total circle still favors the Painan area if you take all these water bodies from which team needs to come in. XBROTHERS still have a lot of credits themselves. They can still afford to find themselves in all these compounds, and the speed with which the teams are coming in, it seems like 7Cs and DRS Gaming can just go up against each other at any point of time. And far away along the area of Camp Charlie, we can get to see the heat waves coming out. Venom Legends are falling short. It is also D. So Gangsters up against Venom Legends, JyanMaara. JyanMaara just got indulged in a lot of fights. They did eliminate TRZ, but they didn't have any vehicle to make the rotation. And as soon as the circle made a shift, they anyhow needed to do so. But this vehicle is going to be helping the Gangsters to make a move into the zone. Anyhow, the escape is brought.
Absolutely. I mean, that fight that the Gangsters took against the players of Venom Legends, it was a 2v4 situation, by the way, right? Because we already saw the Gangsters were in a two-man split, and just amazing approach being showcased from their side. And on the other side, when it comes to Soulless, he seems a little soulless right now as he's sitting on that bike, praying to God that please just give us the win already. And there we go. Yalla approach being showcased. Yalla approach being showcased from his side. No. He's just chilling. He's just chilling on the bike. He's not interested in moving about, but of course, on the other side, there is a team very close in the proximity for JyanMaara, and well, they better be equipped and ready for that, because it is going to be none other than 7C who have the compound route right next to the facility that JyanMaara is calling their home as of now. Again, when you talk about Venom Legends, they're just a one-man squad, all thanks to the Gangsters approach that was showcased, but along with that, JyanMaara right here, also a team that is looking pretty neat, are out in the zone. No, they are in the comfort of the zone itself, so that is looking GG. Still with 10 teams alive, 35 total players. We've got Paradox looking pretty comfortable in this compound. They have a little bit of an information, but as of now have not been able to convert that into elimination points for themselves. But this is where the story is going to change. 20 minutes in, the zone is going to be retracting, and that is where this team of XBROTHERS can also shine quite a lot, because they have a perfect approach in this Painan region.
Oh, definitely. They have their crosshair set up on. XBROTHERS have been in Painan for last, I guess, from where the game started, 20 minutes, 19 seconds. And XBROTHERS are still in the vicinity, so they have the best knowledge of where the teammates, the opponents are actually positioned, and they have the best map knowledge for the moment. But the circle tilts away and goes into the favor, complete favor. The only two compounds that DRS has is still in the zone through Blotter.
Absolutely. I mean, that is working for DRS very beautifully is what I would say. And on the other side, it was 7C's player who were also trying to get into the comfort of that compound, but sadly DRS got there first, so 7C will not be allowed. But on the other side, as you talk about the zone itself, there's only one team that's going to be the side of DRS, who are just simply chilling along from the start of the game. They've been chilling across and they have had no fight whatsoever to deal with. But on the other side, talking about other fights, we've got XBROTHERS right here in the Painan region, who now in their vicinity see another team, and that's going to be none other than Kings of BD. So now Kings of BD, again, a very aggressive team that we have seen in the past as well. Will they be able to deliver the blow that they need against the players of XBROTHERS? We shall find out in just a couple of minutes. But before we do so, it seems like 2RG's players are going to be taking on a spray against the two-man split team of the Gangsters.
Oh no, Blue taking down Ayush. The Gangsters, one gangster down. How they are going to be living up to the expectation, that is one big question before the match started. Somewhere down the line, they are still down out of the top 8. So now, after this game, just one more game left for the day, and that is on the game of Erangel. So anyhow, they have to be the top 8 if they need to start the day from tomorrow onwards, and then find themselves in top 8. The circle, when it tilted away from XBROTHERS, the Painan city just vanquished by XBROTHERS, and as soon as they did, there is one more Bangladeshi team just trying to lock their horns up against, and it's none other than Kings of BD. Out in the open, it's Dominic that is making it pretty worse for the players of Kings of BD to survive the vicinity. With the help of this QBZ and UMP, he was trying to take the players down, but just one wrong peek, was just not cautious enough to watch his right flank. He just went down.
Exactly, and that was the players of NRC who pushed on against Dominic's crazy approach that he had against the players of Kings of BD. And now Kings of BD have been given the time to recuperate, and of course they will be able to get their health all the way up to 100. And with doing so, DRS were also part of the fight where they were stopping the rotation being made from the side of 7C. And indeed, in doing so, 7C have been brought down to just a one-man squad. So DRS looking pretty phenomenal as well. But right now, we have 2RGR on our screens, a team that I started the day I was talking about this team as to what exactly are they going to be bringing to the table, and it seems like slowly but surely they are coming alive. But on the other side, it is going to be NRC's players who are bringing in havoc against the positioning of XBROTHERS. Finally will be eliminated with 10 eliminations to this team of NRC, the team that eliminated Savage in one complete swoop and blow. Doom, the man who was able to do so, resulting in getting eliminated now, but that is A-OK, where XBROTHERS are coming online and alive with 2 players remaining in their team. They are pushing on from one fight to the next, taking on, of course, NRC as well as Paradox, with 5 eliminations already confirmed. But this team of 2RGR, they've got the squad, they've got 2-man squad, and they've got the man revival going on as well. But will they be allowed to hold on their fort right here?
Oh yeah, definitely. That is one case that we need to have a look upon. Our 2RGR Esports at the 16th position before this match started. A real try-hard effort is still going in. 2 finishes being secured, and I guess they will be getting some pretty decent placement points from this match. With Kazi getting the revival done, the players are again back on their feet. The Gangsters out of the lobby. Look at the circle split and the number of players alive from DRS Gaming. That still reminds me of the last game they played in the game of Erangel and Sanhok. Back-to-back finishes going to the name. And with that being said, it's XBROTHERS completely pulled out the lobby. Rage cooking up grenade onto the face of Vexy, but I guess that will just miss up the markup. One more grenade if gets connected close to where Vexy is just floating out. But I guess he has sneaked away, and that location is still pretty much anonymous to him.
Absolutely, with that 7C getting eliminated on the 4th spot, so we can very well say that 7C, they know how to play the end game, and they are able to pretty much in all the games jump all the way up to the top 5, top 8 position. So that's working for that team. But again, elimination is going to be able to help their cause that much more. On the other front, talking about elimination, it's going to be Kings of BDU pushing on and taking that face-to-face against DRS Gaming's players, where Rules has been brought down to the knees, but DRS was quick to retaliate and of course will eliminate the team. Thus 2 teams remain, 2RGR. This is their moment to shine. Perfect nades being showcased. Killer Whitey brought down to his knees. Yeta, can you do it, mate? Yeta is definitely pushing on his luck and trying to get as many nade kills as he possibly can, but being so close, being so very close to the players of DRS, is this the moment that we were waiting for the Gurkha team to take on another team from their region?
Oh no, he goes down. This is the moment for you to clutch to RGR Esports. Numbers has been made down. A 3v3 situation goes down to 3v2. Yeta one more fight, but Delta tries to pick him up. Switches the weapon. M4 this time will be doing the business, and back-to-back chicken for DRS Gaming. But this time, a real try-hard effort coming in from 2RGR. Hats off to DRS, but 100 out of 100 what 2RGR did in this match of Sanhok.
Absolutely, and with that, look at that. In the overall ranking, DRS Gaming move up. I mean, yes, the squad has completely changed for the org, but the next squad that has taken on the name of the real soldiers, I mean, these players are here to dominate, and that's exactly what this team is doing. Just beautiful, beautiful day number 1 for the side of the real soldiers. Back-to-back chicken dinner.
Definitely, DRS, they have really had the feather in their cap before also.
Yes.
And this, with a change in the roster, I guess it's again one time they will be taking a leap from this time.
Absolutely, mate. But what a play, what a miraculous play being showcased from the team of 2RGR as well, because they needed those points, and this time around walking away with the 2nd position and the placement of course working in their favor. They are slowly but surely making that comeback story real, as I was talking about it. With that, we are also going to be looking at MVP, the most valuable player from this game, where indeed, I mean, there were so many players who stood out is what I would say, but again, there can only be one who will be crowned the MVP, and that goes to JyanMaara Esports' Soulless with 7 eliminations. 0 assist because he was just too kill hungry, and 662 damage showcases how precise he was with those eliminations.
Definitely, and he, by the looks of it, seems like the primer physy suggests 662 damage, and going by the math, seems like he might have just stolen out this kill. But all in all, a very good game for JyanMaara Esports itself. JyanMaara and ElementriX. Somewhere down the line, I'll have a keen eye set upon all these teams. Apart from that, WGNRC also had a very good game, but I really want to have a conversation about 2RGR. Last 3 games not in their favor, but in this Sanhok, somewhere down the line, they really had a good option going in their favor. But for the moment, it's time to move towards the top players of this match, and let's have a look. Apart from Soulless from JyanMaara, who others actually excel, and it's none other than Doom and Amer from the sides of NRC. I was talking about this team here. We have 2 players shining out to the cause.
Absolutely. I mean, NRC, the way the team altogether played along with that Doom, The dude and his prey completely knocking Savage off of their horses was incredible to witness. But boy oh boy, with that, let's have a look at more stats as we move on to the match summary, where interestingly enough, this time around on Sanhok, we did not see the kind of method that we have seen in earlier tournaments, where there's a lot of players and teams that end up relying on just sitting back in the blues
battle,
and just
yes.
trying to heal again and again.
Thankfully we don't
around,
have. Thankfully
yeah,
we
this
don't
time
have.
we don't at all.
Thankfully we don't have, else we couldn't have expected these sort of fights, because it started erupting, if you remember, in the very first half of the minute, and that's because of that we can get to see 54 elimination, 58 knocks in a game of Sanhok where it's already fast paced. You don't even get the 7 seconds to heal himself up. It's still 9,267 damage total healing that has been done. That's just a very good number going in the favor. 6 grenade elimination, and in that I guess somewhere down the line 1 or 2 numbers are being actually acclimated by 2 RGR Esports. But let's just head towards the match ranking and let's see, apart from DRS and somewhere down the line other teams like 2 RGR, how much point they were able to secure. So it's 16 for 2 RGR Esports, 23 for DRS Gaming, 13 for BD, WG NRC 11 stands for Brothers 2, JyanMaara Esports, just 9 points, and in that I guess 8, so 90% of the total points what JyanMaara Esports acclimated, it came from elimination.
Exactly, same for WGNRC as well. As we move on to the second page, where 9 to 16 is the number that we're going to be looking at, and in that is a name that you do not want to see. That's going to be on the 16th position right there.
Two big Mongolian
S9
names.
Esports, again, not anticipated at all. Savage Esports on the 15th, again, like you said, 2 Mongolian teams walking away with 0 total points from this first Sanhok game.
Definitely lacking consistency. That's all what we need. And on that, DRS Gaming has been on a prime form, complete prime form. Paradox, again, this has been the real problem for them. And this game itself, we just got to see. Anyhow, they made a move. They just crossed the Painan area and they made a move. Then they have this time going into the favor. Savage Esports, C9 Esports not going in the favor. Venom Legends, apart from their one chicken that they got in the Miramar, they have been completely looking outlandish. But let's just head towards the overall ranking. Obviously, we have DRS Gaming on the real top. But let's see Savage Esports, how far they have declined down. They have not dwindled down because the rest of the team hasn't even given any sort of problem to Savage Esports apart from DRS Gaming.
Absolutely. And again, I mean, you talk about that exact same thing we spoke when the day started, right? The first 2 to 3 teams are going to be creating a league of their own. Right here, we have the first 2 teams creating a league of their own with the points that they've been able to accumulate in the 4 games. And after that, from 3rd to the 8th position, again, one good game and you're going to be moving numbers and places. That's all that there is to it. Along with all of that, talk about consistency. I'm loving ElementriX's approach. I mean, they are very, very consistent throughout all the 4 games that they've played till now.
Oh, definitely. ElementriX, WG and RC has been pretty much the one that has actually showed us the prowess. Kings of BD, JyanMaara Esports 31-31. Not a lot of difference if you just have a look at this broader. 38 with ElementriX at 3rd position and 31 at JyanMaara Esports. At any point, at any moment, any team can just have a quick look at the top 3, but apart from that, there has been real difference between Savage Esports and ElementriX gameplay. At the end of the day, to the one who have just joined in the top 8, because this is the online qualifiers for South Asia region, the top 8 will be moving out and going into the PMPL, and for that we are done with the 4 games. We just have 15 games, 1 is still left for the day, and before that happens, we have XBROTHERS on 25 total points at 9th position. Still not double digit for C9 Esports. Is it the same C9 Esports that we have seen in the past? Don't think so.
Well, that is where the trouble is, because the players, the names, they're all known, but the gameplay that they're showcasing is where the team of C9 is lacking quite a lot in this entire lobby throughout the entirety of the day.
Definitely.
But I'm keeping my fingers crossed for the side of this team, because again, this is a really, really good team that I would want to see move on along and through this PMPL qualifiers and to the top 8 to move on across the board. But Again, you mentioned it. I mean, 15 total games are there, 3 days across. First day, we've got 4 games done, 1 final game remaining for today, and then tomorrow onwards, we've got only 10 games remaining. So the numbers have already started dwindling down in terms of the opportunities that these teams have. And again, you talk about the teams that find themselves on that final page. Yeah, they need to do better. They definitely need to do a lot better to be able to push on along, because we saw the first 2 on the overall standing in the leaderboard, they are playing their own game, right? I mean, we've got DRS, we've got Savage, they are just playing their own game. But after that, from ElementriX all the way down to the 8th spot, there isn't a big difference. I mean, in terms of the points, you're looking at 38 points to 31 points or something of that sort. So 5-6 point difference. And on the 8th spot we saw was JyanMaara. So anything can happen between that 3rd to the 8th spot. But after that, where we saw XBROTHERS on that 9th spot, that is where things kind of take a different toll altogether. And those teams from 9 to the 16th, they need to up their game if they are to make it in through this PMPL qualifier.
Definitely. You talked about the 2 RGR's comeback. Has already made a comeback on the 10th position. From 16 to 10, they have made a big leap. And on the 16th position has been a real tough affair for S9. Paradox, some real problem. It's not just that about they have making some real good rotation. They are finding themselves away from this mid-game fight, the mid situation. Before 17 minutes, you don't see Paradox going into the fight anywhere down the line. But then, whenever they try to come to the fight, it's just not the gun power. You just need to have these gun powers unleashing yourself. In the last game itself, we just saw they are just losing out the battle. At this point, you need to have all these basic. At least you have to be the best of your gun power. You cannot bow down in front of your enemies. If you do, this is the way that you will be completely ripped apart. Apart from that, DG, I mean, the Gangsters also not looking in a good position, but nothing to worry about, I guess. With 31 total points, JyanMaara is at 8th position, and then there is not a lot of difference. But let's just have a quick look at the schedule, and then we'll get to see what sort of things we have. This we have talked about. Not a lot of difference in that. The last game, on the game of Erangel, the 4 matches that has already been played. First win in favor of Savage Esports. Then for Venom Legends, DRS Gaming back-to-back. Will it be a hat-trick one again? If the circle constricts and tilts around again military base, 90% chances are there that DRS Gaming again have a real shy onto this. But let's have a complete look at this last game of this day, and that is going on to be in the game of Erangel. Again, military base is where the flight path, and this is the second time on today that we are witnessing the same flight path. The very first game, it was tilted a bit towards eastern side. It's just that the flight path has been tilted onto the central side, but the military base island has been completely dissected into 2 equal halves. That means teams jumping onto the different hand side have a real shy to the same areas. Yasna Polena will be completely acclimated by Savage Esports. Everyone just joining in.
But this time around, Ankit, I am predicting the zone is going to be nowhere close to the military base. It better not be. I mean, the first 2 Erangel games that we've seen throughout the day, there has been a crazy zone that we've seen, basically. But this time around, I want the zone to move up north, completely taking away the opportunity for so many of these teams to try and get the comfort of the zone, as we call it, right? Because that's what's going to make things that much more spicier in terms of this final game of the day. Sorry.
Definitely, and as we just move on down course, we get to see the teams jumping onto the areas, and as you perfectly mentioned, nowhere close to where military base is positioned, but the love with water is still persisting. At least 30%. I'm just trying to figure it out. 30% of the total area where the zone has shifted, maybe more than 30%, still underwater bodies.
Oh yes. I mean, talk about that. I mean, Seal9, they took their luck. You know, first game of Erangel, they were down onto the south, onto the military base. The second game of Erangel, they moved all the way up towards the Georgia Pole, I remember. And then in the third game, the final game of day number 1 on Erangel, they've gone back down to the military base and the zone completely walking away from them. So this is not looking good once again for Seal9 as they find themselves kind of far away from the zone. But once again, that's not it, because the gameplay that is being showcased from the side of Seal9 is missing from the previously known Seal9 that we know and of course love. But let's see, maybe this final game they showcase a little bit of a different approach to their entire playstyle. Along with that, as we move on towards the eastern front, we do have quite a lot of teams that are fanned out in this area, and that is looking pretty good. Once again, I mean, the Savage, they find themselves in the Yashnaya Polyana region, completely fine, no contestation whatsoever, but it seems like the Gangsters are going to be making an approach in the Yasnaya, so maybe we could see a first blood situation being showcased right there between Savage and the Gangsters in Yasnaya Polyana.
Definitely, that can be the case. The players are just trying to get the vehicles for themselves. We talked about contestation there, we have it DRS Esports. Each and every player just getting their individual buggy for themselves.
Absolutely, and that's crucial as well.
Love to go towards the area of Primorsk, and it's the place they are just heading towards Bloda.
It's their home. It's their hometown. You know, I mean, this is where they feel alive. So they have to go down there. And again, in fact, you know, so many players, everybody who plays PUBG Mobile actually has one select compound in every single map that they love to go to because they know what they're going to find pretty much and what they can anticipate and predict. And that is something that makes it, comfort. And again, like I said, it's their hometown basically is what it turns out to be. And that is why these teams, so many of them, they just keep sticking to that same exact place. But on the final day, I am 100% certain that there will be contestations. The teams that find themselves on the bottom half of the leaderboard are definitely going to be contesting those drop locations and causing a little bit of a ruckus and craziness for the other teams. But of course, this is just day number one's final game, and as of now we are looking at JyanMaara Esports on our screens, where the team is slowly but surely through the prison region, moving across 1500 meters away from the center of the zone. Going to be making a rotation hopefully soon, but this is only 4.5-5 minute marker, so as of now they're looking pretty comfortable making that loot possible for their side. And again, I mean, when it comes down to prison area, there is a lot of lovely loot that the entire team can share, and thankfully, if there is no other team around, you can just very easily roam about, and from one compound to the next, there are just so many opportunities in the prison region that you want to be able to capitalize upon. But yep, from there we move on to the real soldiers, the DRS Gaming, a team that has already created 2 chicken dinner gameplays for themselves. Back-to-back chicken dinners is what we've seen from the side of this team, but now we shall have to see if that sort of a magic can be recreated for them or not. 1800 meters away from the center of the zone, this team is also one that plays with their mind. I mean, Killer YT, Rebel, Rules, Delta, we've seen the names of these players with a different name, with a different team name, but we know that the synergy is still there, and that is what definitely keeps the bunch absolutely away and sorts them away from the entirety of the competition in this lobby, at least right here on day number 1.
And definitely they have shown the course. They have shown the course in the very first 2 games, getting 50%. I mean, the win ratio is 50% in just 4 matches that they have been played. That pretty much seals the deal. Spotting out the players, it's Rebel leading the front, and it's the one that actually lurks around. If you remember the last game of Sanhok, he was the one who was using that Dacia to get a lot of information, and now he knows that someone is pretty much close to where they're actually positioned. Players are coming in. XBROTHERS also trying to make a move. We're getting a lot of shots from backhand side and just trying to move away. Fazal's one tire has actually been made flat. And I don't really know out of how about any time and any place, especially in Erangel, in the early half of the game, 2 Bangladeshi teams just go up against each other.
Almost always ends up happening, right? That is so true. That is so true indeed. But right here, it was Venom that was trying to lead a charge against the players of XBROTHERS, but they have decided to back out of that position and going to try and recuperate their entire team to take on a different fight, a different time, maybe, because they do know where XBROTHERS are. They do know the compound that XBROTHERS are calling theirs for now. But again, they do want to be able to get the loot confirmed for themselves, and comfortable loot is what you want to be able to move on across. So that is what Venom Legends are trying to achieve as of now. A perfect 13-kill chicken dinner is what was seen from the side of Venom Legends on the map of Miramar. And this time around, as we see them on Erangel, slowly but surely, it seems like all the teams, I mean, it's been 7 minutes and we still haven't seen a first blood situation. So teams are taking their time. Now, first day is coming to an end. Teams are getting to know the opponents that they're playing against, and that is resulting in a slow, methodical gameplay from the entire lobby of these 16 teams.
Well, I would rather say that's the fear of losing out. You have to be in the
Perhaps,
top
right?
8.
Yeah.
And if you lose out of that, you won't be just given the slot, because top 8 moves into the PMPLs, and you have to be in that. Just whatever be the total points that they were able to secure at the first position or the 8th position, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you have to be in just top 8, and for that, in the last match, 2RGR just made a comeback. Because of that, from 16th to 10th, they have made a big leap. And for the moment on our TV screens, XBROTHERS are making a closing in. They're just making a close by. Venom is the one. He just jumped out of his Dacia, but he saw that someone is moving in and moving out around, and just because of that, he had that free eye option, and he just checked out on his back. He knows it for a reason that yes, someone is on his back, and XBROTHERS is not one team that will be completely ramming their heads around, knowing the fact that yes, someone is there. This is one team that really plays safe.
True. XBROTHERS definitely. They hold on their fort and try and wait for a perfect moment that they have to take a fight, and that is when XBROTHERS comes online and alive in terms of the elimination points that they try and rack up against for themselves. But on the other side, on a complete different affray, is going to be Venom Legends, who just look forward to getting into a fight, and that's exactly what Steelshot seems to be getting into, as he is getting closer and closer to the compound of Paradox right here, where indeed there's only a one-man squad, and that's going to be Scrooge right here, all by himself.
Yeah.
He, of course, has had the information based on the audio cue of the vehicle that, yep, there is somebody around. His buggy, not entirely sure if it has been spotted or not. Paradox Scrooge's buggy is still
G1
kept right over there, and G1 taking a perfect mini shot against Steel Shot, bringing him down. And this is where, I do want to point out, when it comes to Paradox, they are taking fights, they are knocking players down, but the elimination is what sadly they're not able to confirm and capitalize upon, and that is where they are kind of losing throughout the fights in the entire day. But this fight, they might just be able to rectify and get some points for themselves. This is going to be Scrooge, who's right up close, but Frypan coming in from the rear, going to be creating a flank angle. Lightwing along with Void going to try and push on to this compound that Paradox Scrooge is calling his, but his teammates are up north on that mountain, giving him the cover fire. So Paradox have the fight for themselves, and Venom Legends are going to decide to back out of that situation. No problem whatsoever at all, because they do have all 4 players surviving. They've been able to give that revival, and that's all that matters in the end.
If this vehicle stands out in the open for next few seconds, that will completely blown off. Mark my words, that's completely being blown off. And with Savage Esports in the vicinity, you better be prepared, because these lads don't miss your bullets. Be it be on a head or be it be on a vehicle, they are being completely getting themselves. But Scrooge, the one that got real good cover fire, the zone has completely tilted away, and that's the reason Venom Legend also decided to not find themselves in a fight against Paradox. Goldie leading the charge up front. He's just giving all his call-outs. I don't really know if he's the IGL of his team, but yes, he's doing pretty nice for the moment.
Nope, G1.
I know for one reason. Oh yeah, so G1 maybe. So be it be G1 or Goldie. If it's G1, yes, he's doing it pretty correctly. The IGL is getting the team in a good position in the circles, but it then comes down to how good position you are in to take the fight. This time it was a real good cover fire where Scourge was on the verge of getting eliminated, because 3 players were coming in and charging it from Venom Legends. With the prowess that they come in, it's really tough to actually defend. But let's just see if that happens or not.
But this time around, at least Paradox were able to push away that aggression that was showcased from the side of Venom Legends. Right? So
yeah,
that's
optimistic.
Okay, that works.
That's pretty
right? Yeah, absolutely. But talking about optimism, once again, I want to point this out, mate. Throughout the entire day, I've been looking at this team again and again. 7C Esports. 7C Esports somehow, every single game, find themselves in the center of the zone, yet they're not able to capitalize upon it, and yet they're not able to get the points working in their team's favor, which is something that is very sad that's happening for the side of 7C, because again, look at their positioning. They are ruling that mountain right now, and they are in the center of the zone. No matter how hard a shift the zone makes, they are going to be comfortable, and they're going to be able to get the information because of the mountain that they are sitting on top of.
Definitely, they have a really good chance, and the plethora of information that they can gather from that position is actually huge, that humongous. And then it comes down to how they play their cards well. If they act accordingly, if they just try to be opportunistic in that sense, that can be just one good thing. But they're at number 2, brings and offers you the AUG and the complete level 3 that offers you the vest and the helmet and the backpack. Og is also a really a good one, but hasn't been the one for mine, especially Og. I mean, that's really hard for you to control the recoil. Because it doesn't have a lot of foregrips and all these attachments going to his favor, but some players really do have a good control over it. But really, something worrying me. I mean, 16 teams, 64 players still in the lobby. We are heading into the third minute of the game and still no knock, no finish. There was one knock, but still no finish. This is the last Erangel. I guess the fear of missing out is one thing that is scratching all these players too badly.
Well, they are playing it very, very safe. The entire lobby, in fact, is playing it very, very safe. I mean, as you said, no first blood whatsoever at all. We've seen knock being confirmed. I mean, Steel Shot was knocked thanks to Paradox's approach. But eventually, again, he was given the revival and the Venom Legends decided to back out of that fight. So, once again, a very passive approach being showcased from the entirety of the lobby. And with that, 7C finding themselves on top of the hill are moving away. Why are they moving away? They were in the center of the zone. And this is an interesting approach being showcased.
Can we have a look? Can we have a look at the map, please, observers?
Because they are in the zone. I mean, they are in the center, in fact. But all right, there we go. First blood might just be coming in.
I guess.
Maybe. It is possible. They could just very well be scouting because sitting on top of a mountain gets a little boring as well, and that's probably what 7C are doing. And they're like, you know what, dude, I see nobody around. Let me just go down, take a stroll, and maybe I'll let you guys know if at all there's something to fight and spray upon. But as of now, talking about sprays, we've got the first blood being showcased thanks to this Snipe YT. The dude has gotten the first perfect approach against the players of 2RGR, and of course, being on top of this church, he had the sight, of course, working for him in the ruins region, and that resulted in a first blood coming in at 14-minute marker in the final game of Erangel. So again, a slow approach, but as long as these teams bring in this sort of a play, this is going to be working in so many of these teams' favor, because we want a competitive fight to take place, and we want all the teams to get the best of the best loot and then get into a fight, right? And that is something that when you shy away from fights for 15 minutes straight in a game, you better be able to get a decent loot, and then once the fight is provided to you, you've got an equal chance of taking your opponent down. But as of now, it is definitely looking like Snipe YT is the man who is just taking down players one after the other. As of now, he's got Dominic in his crosshairs, and XBROTHERS, Dominic is not looking too good because he's going to be caught out in the open. And now, what sort of a... Come on, he should have already told his teammate that do not approach this area because we are being sprayed upon. But I guess that's not the tactic that they're deciding upon, and they're going to be pushing on an aggressive stance from XBROTHERS, and that is going to result in JyanMaara's players just pushing back down, and Snipe YT is going to recuperate with his team as of now from the looks of it.
Definitely. Zones make a shift. DRS out of the circle. Noob Alliance also. Savage Esports pretty close to where JyanMaara. And this is not the first time. It's Hershey's again just trying to scout out the areas, and a 1v1 fight. Just let's see who wins this. Do we have any cover fire allowed available in the situation? Yes, we do have. Hershey's get a lot of shots, but till he gets a lot of shots, he knows that he has dealt the damage onto the players, and that is Gunner. And as soon as he does, he has got a lot of players around him that will be helping him solve the course. And I guess that's the way you make a push. You just get the HP so low that he is so down on his morale that he won't be able to take the fight against you. And there we have it, Savage Esports, one defeat onto the name, and they're just holding the western edge of the circle. So after a lot of defeat in the last couple of games, what I see from the looks of it, Savage Esports, they have just completely gone on the edge of the circle.
Absolutely, and on the other side, if we talk about Venom Legends, not entirely sure what's going on with them because their players are dropping like flies thanks to the play zone. Of all things, play zone is the one that is resulting in Venom Legends 2 players already being confirmed, sent back from this lobby. Along with that, make a look, or rather have a look at Seal 9's approach, where they have made a rotation and they are going to be sticking to the western edge of this zone. So a decent approach, a decent rotation being showcased from the side of that team. But south of that zone is where we can clearly see Gremlin Storm taking a fight against another team that is going to be the one in the yellow, which I do not know the name of as of now. But again, it seems like not for long, because Kings of BD were the ones in the yellow, and they have been eliminated thanks to Gremlin Storm's approach. So now, finally, the fights are taking place quite a lot, and 7C are also at the receiving end. Along with that, this is DRS taking a fight to the face of Noob, and it is Lucifer who seems to be bringing the pain down to the face of the real soldiers.
Definitely. Lucifer is holding his horses strong, healed himself up, has a lot of players just knocked down, 1-win situation. Lucifer going up against rules. He is hiding himself at the back of the tree trunk, tries to go with the fight, and yes, he does it for himself.
Wow.
Not only he will be wiping out the complete squad, he took 2 players down, he will be getting the revival in his favor. And this Sri Lankan team, I told you, these 2 last matches is all about comeback. We just saw 2RGR making a comeback. Noob Alliance, this is going to be a big leap. Also provided that if NRC also does good in this match, we have some real good competitive players coming out from Sri Lanka, mind you, because this is the team that got back-to-back 2 chicken, and in this last fight, we just saw how Noob Alliance players just had their momentum going in.
Absolutely, and completely stalking and breaking the perfect synergy that was showcased from DRS in the previous 2 games off the ground with 0 eliminations in the name of DRS. So amazing play being showcased. On the other side, talking about revivals, we've got a comeback story from the side of 2RGR in the previous game, and this time around, will they be allowed to showcase that sort of a dominating play or not is what the case is going to be, because right now they're going to be facing against the players of XBROTHERS. The compound is certainly there. Yetta is trying to hold the fort against the players of XBROTHERS, but will it be enough? Because 2RGR's other player, teammate Kazi, is going to be taking a fight to the players of 7C. So lot of ruckus, a lot of third parties being created right here, but 2RGR still looking very much in control of this fight.
Look at this shift. I guess the only compound, the small little compound, completely into the favor of 2RGR Esports. And I mean, that's a pretty known proverb. If you are trying to help yourself out, I mean, the gods are also present there to help you out. The zone completely going up into the favor of 2RGR. Gremlin Storm also trying to make a move in. 2RGR have really good try. Get at least 10 to 15 points and just try to get the lead decreased to at least 5 to 10 to where the teams are actually standing above you. And in the meanwhile, Liquid, I guess, is the only one standing from the sides of ElementriX. Has also been the aggressive one from the western side. All these teams were trying to make a move. 7C's Esports, so they were having a big split, 2-2 split, 2 players on the top of this big mountain on the downside of Georgopol. But whenever the circle comes away and goes down from this area, it's really tough and a tremendous situation, a Herculean effort to be more precise, if you have to just talk about that and call about that. And in that, 7C's Esports has unfortunately lost 2 players. When Precious gets a revival, they will be again back to 2 players. But how are they going to be racking up their finishes points? Because already in the zone, 2RGR Esports are present. And the way Yetta has played the last match, if you remember, he is not going to be leaving 7C's Esports for that easy.
Definitely, that is so true indeed. Because again, I mean, this is definitely working in favor of 2RGR, and the conversation is definitely going to be supporting them. But I've been noticing SA's rotation, Savage Esports' rotation from the eastern front, going all the way up north behind XBROTHERS, trying to at least, and that is where SA have kind of been caught off guard, it seems like, from the looks of it. But again, I mean, we'll come back to that, because right now the fight is in the name of JyanMaara, where JyanMaara are taking on the players, and along with that in the kill feed, it is going to be Noob, who are completely dominating against, or rather trying to at least dominate against the players of Gremlin. But sadly, they are out in the open, and this is where NRC's players are going to be able to get a better havoc. But what a perfectly set up nade from Razor is going to be able to damage a lot of health for the side of Hezen. And this, in return, has brought down WGNRC to their knees with only 1 man remaining, who should just focus on revival as of now. And this is the moment that, of course, Noob will be able to take a breather as well, because they've got to revive their teammates as well.
Definitely.
Wow. Okay.
Doom's grenade actually helped both the teams to have a lot of team to just have a big gulp of breath in their chest and then just get themselves into fight. But the blue is the big thing. Blue is the horror. This grenade can just seal the deal. Amar, onto the face of it. Yes, there we have it. The complete seal deal for NRC. One Sri Lankan team wiping out their own opponents, and they are just good to go.
Well, Noob had certainly a good run. I mean, 6 eliminations from this game. So definitely, right? I mean, nothing taken away from ISSL and their gameplay. But on the other side, WGNRC, with all 4 members still surviving, pushing on through from one fight to the next. 8 teams remaining, 5 eliminations confirmed for the side of WGNRC. Along with that, we still do have 2RGR still in the fight, and they are also looking comfortable in terms of the zone working in that team's favor. So a perfect comeback story from the side of 2RGR, but will it be enough for them to be able to rack up more points, because 8 teams are remaining, and well, as of now anything can happen, because third parties is what I'm anticipating from so many of these teams. As WGNRC get their revival story done and move on through, it is going to be not an easy rotation from their side, because JyanMaara was waiting, and there we go in the kill feed. Snipe by T, definitely taking a fight against the players of WGNRC, and NRC's players are in a lot of trouble. Seal9 goes down with 6 eliminations this time around. So a good game, definitely a good rotation showcase from Seal9, resulted in them walking away with 6 elimination points from this game.
Definitely, 2 first it is what Hazen just need to get himself into, but if this car gets blown off, I guess that will be just pretty much done for NRC. JyanMaara, one player still surviving, soulless, along with Suzanne. If he gets the revival, and yes, the revival is being done, just to 5 teams and 12 players alive. And in the meanwhile, XBROTHERS has been completely annihilated by Savage Esports. Again, Savage Esports, this time not with the finish point, but with the placement points. I guess they are pretty much closing and cruising to where 2RGR are eyeing. Now 2RGR needs to be pretty much careful, because there is one big Goliath team that just hunts any player down if they just find themselves out in the open. It is going to be Savage Esports. Kazi pretty much close to where they are actually positioned. But I like the way 2RGR are actually positioned. One player on the front, one on center, and one on back. That's Ryu, just to take down the players. And Ryu is just doing his business, just trying to get down the players. But he has been already spotted down, as now JyanMaara makes a move into the zone. This grenade, if this gets connection, 2RGR can be in real trouble, but this misses Waymark.
Absolutely, completely missed across, and that is where JyanMaara will not be able to get that elimination point confirmed for themselves. But on the other front, talking about 2RGR, I mean, they are sitting very comfortable with the 3-man squad, 8 elimination points confirmed for their side. But alongside their compound is going to be Savage as well. And Savage is a team that does not back away from a fight. That is something that is definitely confirmed in the first day affair of the entire saga. Along with that, 7C still remaining surviving, alive. Akujor along with Precious, the 2-man squad, are slowly but surely trying to get this game for themselves as well. They're trying to survive for as long as they possibly can. But Savage, as we just said, this is a team that does not run away from a fight. But what a perfectly backed boom indeed coming in from the side of 2RGR.
There we have it. Savage Esports also trying to retaliate in same style, same fire. Sanchir needs the revival done. Hershey is the one who is going pretty close to where it is. But I guess this was the moment. RGR should have made the push with the help of some smokes. If they don't, I guess then they could have gone for the thing. But from the backhand side, you need to check your back. They were so much constricted in the fight against Savage Esports that they just forget that it was JyanMaara Esports that they gave a lot of fire on the backhand side. And if you remember, there is a small little bunker out here, and it's that place where 2RGR can actually hide themselves into.
Definitely, and this is looking pretty comfortable for the side of JyanMaara as they push on along with that. ElementriX getting eliminated with 3 eliminations to their name. JyanMaara pushing on to the compound where indeed 2RGR were calling their home, but now have been brought down to just a 2-man squad. And that result in, of course, Savage Esports just taking a backstory from this entire saga and like, all right, you guys take a fight of their own. We are going to move away from this position and recuperate on top of that hill. And that is exactly the fight that took place between JyanMaara and 2RGR, resulting in Savage Esports getting the better half of this entire
that's the bunker
game.
That's completely changed the game for JyanMaara and also for 2RGR. As soon as the player just popped out his head, the crosser pretty much aligned onto his face, and the kills are, the finishes points are being completely racked up in his number. But the time with which 2RGR was engaged in the fight, that gave a clear indication, a clear opportunity for Savage Esports to make a move into the zone.
Absolutely, and that is what has resulted in now this team of 2RGR taking a lot of hits onto their knees and their feet thanks to Hershey and him being so very cheeky with
Wow.
those shots, and with that, 2RGR getting eliminated. But I mean, nothing taken away from the team. This team, previous game and this game, have made a comeback story true, and that is what results in them walking away with 10 eliminations. With
Definitely.
that, it seems Savage Esports are going to be able to get this kill confirmed. Precious, just the one-man squad, is trying his level best, but Savage Esports will get that chicken dinner taken away from 7C. But again, this team is going to probably push on to that first position. Yes, they will, with 6 eliminations. Very shy based on the kind of gameplay that they've showcased us throughout the day. So 6 elimination is like a walk in the park for the side of Savage Esports. But hey, they've got the chicken dinner. They've got 21 points in total. So yeah, the fight is going to be for the first position between DRS and Savage from the looks of it.
Definitely, and since DRS were not able to secure even a single point from this match, at 14th position they got eliminated with no finish point whatsoever. So that was a clear indication that yes, Savage Esports are making a big leap and they are being climbing up onto the ladder of success. And yeah, there we have it. Savage Esports again back on track at the first position from where they started this qualifiers. A big difference what we just saw Savage Esports in the first game and this 5th game. They were not indulging in unnecessary fights, and I guess that is the reason of success. It's better that they learned in just the last 3 games where they were hampered pretty badly, and this is the sign of a real good team.
True, very, very, very true, of course. But with that, day number 1, 5 games are done. We've got 10 games remaining for all these 16 teams in the next 2 days. So 5 games per day.
Yeah.
That is, I mean, tomorrow is going to be a very critical, crucial day for these teams on the second page. And once again, I mean, Seal9 in the final game, the rotation that they made all the way down south from military base to get into the western front of the zone was beautiful. Then they were able to hold on to that compound as so many teams made the rotation, and they just picked them up one by one. That worked out perfectly for Seal9. So again, I mean, 6 eliminations along with whatever placement point they were able to get from this game is going to worthy their cause. But is it a bit too late? It is just day number 1. But that's what the story is when you've only got 15 total matches to prove your worth. And yeah, the points are definitely on the first page. They are just racking up.
Definitely, and also in the first position, if you're talking about the 1-8, TRZ and ElementriX, they were pretty close to where they started things off in this before the start of this match. And since with just 4 finish point, TRZ made an exit at 12th position. ElementriX, they stood their ground till the last. We just saw Savage Esports getting them eliminated. And we're getting to see what sort of difference has been created between ElementriX and TRZ. But before that, we just had to see who is going to be the MVP, the most valuable player from this match. And it's going to be none other than Ryu from the sides of 2RGR Esports, the one who was trying to check the back. And as soon as ElementriX tried to make a backstab, he was the one that made it pay for ElementriX. That how dare you.
Absolutely, with 3 assists alongside that, 796 damage, a GG play being showcased from the side of the entire team is what I would say off the side of 2RGR. Previous game as well as this game, they've made a real good comeback story for their side, and that definitely is going to be resulting in them pushing on towards the charts. I mean, they were on the 10th, but then from the 10th position, now they ought to be moving at least in the top 8, hopefully, because again, I mean, you look at the MVP along with his teammate also chiming in the top 4 player list. This was a good game for 2RGR, definitely.
Definitely, the top 4 players, and then we have also the match summary. Then we'll get to see what sort of performance the team actually had for themselves, where we'll get to see a lot of teams making a move, who secured what sort of points, the difference between that I was talking about TRZ and ElementriX. But here we have the Precious from the sides of 7C's 800 damage, and time to move on towards the match summary for this match itself. And let's just see what sort of domination other teams actually appraised from this match. 58 total elimination, 67 total knocks, 7,678. So the total number of healing, it started with 10,000, it decreased to 9,000, it went down to 8, and now it has come down to 7,678. So now the teams, yes, they are taking the fight, because we get to see total knockout 67 and elimination are 58, but somewhere down the line the equation are being challenged in that way.
Definitely, I completely agree with that conversation. With that, let's have a look also at the match ranking coming in from this game. I mean, we do know who got the chicken dinner. That was none other than Savage, with 6 kills confirmed to their name. And along with that, the placement points going to result them with 21 points. But the comeback story definitely has to be 2RGR. Starting off the day, I was talking about I want to be able to see this team progress on along. I want to be able to see the aggressive stance that this team has showcased in this lobby, and by the end of the day, 2RGR definitely is showcasing that with 10 eliminations, 10 placement points, 20 points in total. So most certainly this team has made a comeback, but now will it be enough? Because we want them to stick to this gameplay and keep on pushing their both from one game to the next if they want to be in the top 8 and stick in the top 8 to be able to qualify.
Definitely. You talk about worth, Venom Legends performance, certainly not justified. Certainly not justified. Apart from that one Miramar having completed a lackluster performance, you need to set yourself in the grooves. At the end of the day, all these teams have a real good experience going up into the favor. 0 for Venom, 0 for DRS Gaming, none for DE, and also 0 for Kings of BD, making it worse for them. But we just head towards overall ranking, and then we'll have a clear set of picture in our mind that what team is on the front line. We still have Savage Esports with 82 total points at the end of 5 matches, 74 for DRS Gaming, and TRZ Esports having a big slip because WG and RC had a good game, JyanMaara had a good game, a decent one for ElementriX too. And that's the reason everyone is just top-notching each and everyone. But still, top 8 is where Venom Legend will be ending their gameplay. And it's the only team that's still on the 8th position with 1 chicken.
Exactly. Just that 1 chicken is what they've got. But again, nothing taken away from their play because this is just day number 1. There is still day 2 and day 3. 5 games per day. So 10 games remaining. 5 games are done. This is the end result where ElementriX throughout the day, they have been consistent off the chart, off the board. 2RG Esports, 2 games, and they make a 10 position jump from 16th position all the way up to 6th. So an incredible play being showcased from the side of 2RGR as well. But now is where we move on to the second page. And the second page, there is a bit of a difference between that 13th or rather 16th position to that 9th position. There's a 20-point difference right there, right?
Definitely. It's the same position that we have been talking about. But let's head towards the kill leader tally. The 5 matches that we have seen all together. It's Hershey. 19 elimination out of the 5 total matches that they have played. 112 damage that they have made sure. Hershey on an average 4 elimination per match. Miracle for 14, and out of the total 4 we get to see 2 players from Savage Esports. I guess they have been that's the reason they have been pretty much dominating the lobby.
Absolutely. I mean, just the first game itself, we saw Hershey bring in 8+ eliminations for himself. Just one game, 8+ eliminations. So definitely working out for the dude, but we shall have to see what tomorrow and day after are going to be for him. Will it be the same, or are the players, not the players, rather the opponents, going to be bringing in a different sort of strategy against the aggression that was showcased on the side of Savage Esports? Because today, these 5 games are done. Now these teams are going to go back and look at the entire stream to find out what rotations are being made, how exactly are the drop locations being dropped on, and yep, this is where day number 1 comes to an end. But GG, what an incredible, wonderful performance from all of these teams.
Definitely, and with that being said, it's just the end of the very first day. We have still 2 days left for the day. You do make sure to tune in to tomorrow at the same time. But till then, take care and bye-bye.
Here we go now. we go now. Here 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 we go now.